This reviewer discussion was recorded during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the works being covered here wouldn't exist. We fully support both the WGA and SAG-AFTRA in their fight for fair treatment and compensation against a system that continually denies them such. While a full boycott has not been called for, SAG-AFTRA has asked that everyone who does media about film and TV refrain from promoting struck content during this time. From what we can tell based on guidelines released, independent reviews do not constitute promotion of work but critical assessment of a work of art. Any praise we give to these works should be seen purely as praise for the artists, writers, and actors who created it. If anything, the praise is emphasizing that the writers, actors, and other artists deserve more compensation because they are who make these works and our subsequent discussions possible. Additionally, this recording was not made using any studio-provided screeners or material. Do not support any studios during the strike.
Good morning, San Diego Comic-Con. This is not a test. This is the Fake Nerd Podcast. It is currently 10:30 in the morning. What does the O and the 10 stand for? Oh my God, it is early and Ben Magnet is awake. We are rocking you all the way between the Hilton and the Marriott, from the gas lamp to the USS Midway, and it is back. It is here. We are not there, and one of us totally forgot it was happening this weekend. Good morning. I am Ben Magnet. I am one of your hosts here on the Fake Nerd Podcast, episode 337. It is another Comic-Con episode, and of course I am joined by my bros, Brandon T. McClure.
For those counting, this is actually episode 2.
No. Sparks Witty.
Yes, we're here live, Ben. As you can see, cosplayers
hey guys.
abound.
They are all standing completely still in the very hot San Diego sun, and of course,
That is because they're professionals, Ben. They're professionals.
they are professionals. They are going to stand completely still for the next 2 hours. And hanging out with us, as always, Mr. Ryan Eliopoulos himself.
Hello. You can find me under the lights. Diamonds all up in my eyes. Clap, clap. Hello, friends. Welcome to Comic-Con.
Welcome indeed. We are back. This is a big old episode where we're going to talk about some Comic-Con. But before we get into that, let's talk about some links that are in the description. It was not a very big week for this channel. I did not get the latest episode of Conversation out on time. It is delayed. I am so sorry. I tried. It was just a busy week. So the latest episode is still Rachel Strange from the Narrative Labyrinth. Please check that out if you haven't already. And coming up this week, I promise it will be this week, will be D and Dark, the full cast for D and Dark.
Yay, I'm part of that.
He is part of that. Ben is a returning guest. And speaking of D and Dark, why don't we just go there, Ben?
Yeah, why not?
Actually, you know what? I've decided against it because I think we should probably say right up top, the strike links. There are plenty of strike links. If you're watching the live stream or anything else, you heard the disclaimer at the beginning of this episode, but there are links in the description. Please check them out for where you can support the strike, where you can find out why they're striking. SAG-AFTRA this week put out their list of demands what the AMPTP came back with. Like, hey, bigger lunch break? No. So you can definitely please check those out. It kind of puts it all into perspective that the AMPTP is pure evil. So please check out those links. Please support the strikes where you can. Obviously, we are in full support of both striking unions. And as Sparks mentioned on our upcoming Mission Impossible episode, all unions currently striking or future striking.
Yeah. Hot labor summer, baby.
We will be talking about the strike a little bit later, but Ben, why don't you talk about D and Dark episode 35?
Yeah, so last episode of D and Dark, all of the entire crew, we had our own little solo adventures in doing stuff in the ethereal plane. And actually, yeah, because I wasn't here last week, so I wasn't able to talk about it. I'm part of a Discord, and I was just laughing because my little solo adventure, like Mary Frankenstein's solo adventure, felt like the least traumatizing one out of everyone else.
No, yeah, 100%.
because my character just like went to the theater plane, saw Victor Frankenstein, essentially was just like a ghostly "Hi Dad, bye Dad," and then just went back, and everyone else was dealing with trauma. Jack was dealing with Rainer and all this other hodgepodge of stuff. And then we finally get together in the ethereal plane, and we're trying to get through the spooky sanitarium of the spooky sanitarium inside the ethereal plane. And yeah, it's bad times, bad vibes, as Carmilla would say. All those ghosts do not pass the vibe check.
I want to just say that I've listened to this week's episode, and no spoilers from me, obviously, but I have been under the impression these past few weeks that you guys, you've really come together as a group. You're really working together, and this episode just blew that out of the water with just like the most chaotic events that you guys have ever gone through.
Yeah. There are times where we work together amazingly as a team. The dice work in our favor, and there are other days that some of our party members, I'm not going to say who, but one of them does resemble beef jerky a little bit, chooses chaos.
Well, it's not just that. It's
Sometimes that one's happened, man.
Props to Phantom. He's always committed to the character.
That's
true.
what I love.
That's what Phantom should do. To do anything less would be inaccurate to who that character is.
I'm pretty sure I've talked to him off camera, off microphone. I think the last time we hung out during our little Christmas get together was I asked him if Will Wheaton has ever held his dice, because his dice seem to be cursed.
Oh, sure.
He has the Will Wheaton dice curse.
As we mention every week, please check out D and Dark. Very good show put on by Danger Dangers, with Ben Magnet as a part of. Linked below. So my CBR stuff is also linked below. There's the lowest rated Pixar films list came out. Surprise! There's only one rotten Pixar film, and that's Cars 2. As far as Rotten Tomatoes is concerned, everything else is upwards of 70 and higher. Which pretty good track record if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And although Cars 3 is the second from the lowest, I don't agree with that.
No, I don't agree with that either. I will die on the hill that Cars 3 is a much better film that people make it out to be.
Yeah, me too. I'll die on that hill with you.
Thank you.
Y'all don't have to die for a Cars movie. I'm sure it's great. Don't have to die.
I will.
Okay, maybe I won't die on the hill, but I'll definitely fight on the hill.
Just like get shot in the shoulder or something. Don't go for the head.
just get me wounded. Give me a purple Pixar heart.
Get me in the hit me in the headlights.
Yeah.
All right, so that's there. Of course, the Fake Nerds watch for Star Trek: Strange New Worlds episode 5 is there. Big week for Star Trek. I can't wait to talk about it, including they dropped the Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover days early. Very excited about that. But yeah, so episode 5 is in the description below. Halfway through the season. Excited for the next half. And our Mission Impossible Cinephiles, our Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 Cinephiles is not currently in the description. It's not finished uploading by the time we're recording this. So after this is done, and when you are listening to this on your podcatcher of choice or watching this after the live stream, it'll be in the description. So please check it out. We love that movie. Spoiler alert. That's all the links in the description, though. However, so why don't we get started with our week? My turn. We've done this new system, so I'll just go right into my week, if that's cool.
Dive into it, bro. Dive into it. Jump in. Head first.
So I will talk about Digimon Adventure 2020. Just kind of give you guys a quick little update on how I'm feeling about the show now that I'm 25-ish episodes in, I believe. There's 67 episodes in total, so it's about 10 plus episodes longer than the original show. And it shouldn't be. It's kind of spinning its wheels. And I did not expect that.
That's a bummer.
It is a bummer. So the first arc, like the first arc in the original show, is Devamon. If you guys remember Devamon, big gangly vampire dude with the long...
Love him.
And I think that Devamon is probably not the best remembered Digimon villain from the original show, because Myotismon and Piedmon, I think, kind of trump him.
Yeah.
But he's still a really good villain, and he's a good first villain. And for those of you guys who remember the first arc of Digimon Adventure, the very first Digimon series, is they learn how to team up with their Digimon, and then they digivolve. They get all the Digimon to digivolve into champion levels, which is the level that Devamon is at, so that they can fight Devamon. And then after that, they do ultimates. And then after that, only Tai and Matt get megas. Yeah, that guy.
That guy. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that emo. Look, I love him.
Great design. Yeah. Iconic design. So here, I realized we weren't done with the first arc, and yet the show is moving so fast and yet not progressing the plot very much, because we've already met everyone's ultimates.
Really?
And so everyone's got an ultimate. And what it did was it would do like one episode. First off, the first 2 episodes introduce Omnimon, and I don't mind spoiling that because it's the first 2 episodes. And that's the first time Tai and Matt meet that Omnimon shows up. And it's really, and it's kind of insane. I'm like, oh shit, wow, we're doing this. Oh my God. And then it sets up this. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because Omnimon, the first time I even knew about Omnimon's existence was the Digimon movie that came out in theaters like
that's the only thing he showed up in before Try.
Yeah. He was like the coolest. I mean, seeing Omnimon was like that was the first ever DNA Digivolve, I think, too. Yes,
it was retroactively made into a DNA Digivolve because of Adventure 2, but it wasn't originally supposed to be. So we were introduced to Omnimon. I'm like, oh shit, wow, we're really moving. And then after that, they meet their Digimon, and then we're introduced, and then there's little arcs for every Digidestin and their Digimon to get to their champion level, and then they do that again to get to their ultimate levels. And I was like, okay, we're still a little repetitive, but I really like watching these evolutions. It's really cool to see these characters progress like this. I'm really into this. But when are we going to really meet Devamon? And I'm really disappointed because Devamon doesn't get a lot to do. He gets 2 episodes and he's killed.
Do you think that this potentially could be, and this is just the closest comparison I can think of, is something like an Ava rebuild where they're taking the original thing and then doing something different with it to twist what you think is going to happen?
I think they wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And then a toy company got involved.
That makes sense, yeah.
So because I think the beginning sets up a really interesting plot line, just background plot for the series. Again, no spoilers. This is the 3rd episode. It's introduced that there was a big war between the Dark Digimon and the Light Digimon, and in that war were the mega forms of what we learn are the Digidestin Digimon. So War Greymon, Metal Garurumon. And the rest, the ones that we were introduced to in Try, so all of them, and then Omnimon was in that war, including like Angemon, Magna Angemon, and so like, and then Agumon and Gabumon, who have no memory of this, start crying because they have a deep-seated memory of this fight that they died in thousands of years ago, and through the Digi world time, and I was like, that's really cool. But then they drop it, and they never address it again.
For now.
I looked it up because I was like, we're really spinning our wheels here. What happened? What happened was Bandai and COVID. COVID stopped production on Digimon Adventure, and then Bandai said, actually, we need this to just be about Tai and Agumon. No one else. And that really sucks. And I'm already seeing that happen in this series as we're kind of dropping this whole idea. And then Devamon only gets like one quick episode, and he would barely get any sense of who he is as a villain and what he wants as a villain. There's the thing that made Digimon so interesting were the villains. All the villains had the same motivation of they want to destroy the real world and they want to take over the digital world. But they were all really cool and interesting and had vastly different personalities. And Devamon is just kind of like, meh. And I'm just like, that's a bummer.
Even if I remember correctly, the original 4Kids dub of Digimon, Devamon had some form of a personality. And you are right. Every single Digimon villain, like I remember when I first met Edamon, when Edamon shows up for the first time.
Yeah,
he was like the funniest dude. He was a monkey impersonating Elvis.
Yeah, I love Edamon.
Yeah. And it's like there's all like that's the thing about Digimon is that you remember Piedmon and you remember Myotismon, Venom Myotismon,
Oh,
Machinedramon, Seedramon. Like you remember
All the
you
mods.
remember these villains and they're fun and like you can give the 4Kids dub crap all day every day, which is crap they deserve, but they had their Digimon had wild personalities, like every single one of them.
God, Puppetmon. I thought Piedmon.
Puppetmon is so cool.
God, I hated Puppetmon. I hated him so much.
He's like the Starscream to Piedmon's Megatron.
Yeah, but Puppetmon was just like so creepy, you know, how much he just he's like, I want you to be my friends, and
I will say positives just to wrap it up because it is still good. I still really like the animation. I do like how they are doing some new things with the Digivolutions, and one big new thing that I think is really cool is that the Digidestin are constantly involved in the fights, not looking at the fight happening between their Digimon. They are constantly riding their Digimon into battle, and I think that's really cool. Like watching Tai on Greymon is really interesting, but then when he digivolves to War Greymon, and Tai is just a little speck on top of War Greymon, but it's just really nice to see because it gives the Digidestin more agency during the fights rather than just yelling and hoping that their Digimon can rally. They're actually in the fight.
Yeah, it's not like Pokemon where it's like a contest. It's like a battle.
Yeah.
Like it's a little more like high stakes when people battle and stuff.
And it gives the humans a lot more agency because they're here saying like, oh, I want to help my friend. This is a battle that my friend is in, so I need to help them and not just watch on the sidelines. So I actually really like that. So there's things I like, there's things I don't like. I'm going to continue with it, and hopefully it pulls it off. Voice cast is still great, by the way. Okay. Last thing I'll say before I move into something we collectively did, which is I watched Joyride for the this week, which, and now I want to preface because I have a tendency to overhype things. I do not know how other people are going to feel about this movie, specifically you guys. Also, I can only say how I felt about the movie, and which is I adore it. I think it's incredibly funny. It's got some of the most unhinged comedy scenes I've seen in a long time. It's a fresh perspective coming from, different, a different culture. Heartwarming. I was in stitches on the floor laughing for most of my theater experience. Luckily, I had a good theater. Everyone was really into it. I really, 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 really loved it. And that's unfortunately all I can say because I don't want to spoil anything about this movie. I just felt it was incredible and will most likely end up in my top 15s at the end of the year.
Nice.
All right. Ryan and Sam. So Sparks. That doesn't matter. Your name's on the website.
Yeah.
We all saw Barbie.
It's true. I really, really wanted to have the true Barbenheimer experience, but I work on weekends, so it was impossible.
We have adult lives and we're not allowed.
Yeah.
We're barred from Barbenheimer entry.
Yeah, but I did get to see the movie that was half the length of the other one. So I did see Barbie, which was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I really liked it. It's very funny. There are some moments in it that the directions they take that I just didn't expect, specifically in some of the dialogue.
The marketing hit a lot of what the movie was actually about, which is great.
Yeah, I remember turning. I was like, oh, is this what the movie's about? Ryan Gosling's been getting a lot of praise, which rightfully he should, as Ken. I think all the Kens are really great. Simu Liu gets probably the most to do outside of Ryan Gosling as Ken.
He's like, there's a bad Ken phase, but he is like the quote unquote bad Ken of
he's rival Ken.
He's rival Ken. Yeah, if he had a name, it'd be rival Ken. Yeah.
But I think Michael Cera. I didn't expect to love him as much as Alan.
Michael Cera's in this movie?
Yeah, but he's not. He's barely featured
Ken's
in
best
any
friend.
of the
All his clothes fit him. All of Ken's.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There's only one Alan.
Yeah, great.
There's, but Will Ferrell it was also really, really surprisingly funny in this movie, especially like his motivations not being what I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Really liked him.
Yeah,
I want to ask so many questions, but I'm seeing it tonight, and I'm really
Just wait.
excited.
Wait and have your
excited to
questions
see it.
answered.
In terms of being this is a big blockbuster movie. This might be like honestly next to like the Matrix Revolution. No, what's the Resurrections? Like the kind of like the weirdest, most like you allowed this to get made kind of movie I've ever seen, because like Mattel is very much involved with it, but it is still a movie that is very much about being a woman and being a man in the real world and what that means in today's world and every negative thing that comes with it. And it's
the
like
expectations attached to gender identity.
Absolutely. And it is a very it's like for a Barbie movie, it's really deep. Like it really tries to like do shit. And it's really surprising. And it's like the fact that again that it even got made, that it's like, man, this really feels like an indie movie that like has Barbie slapped on it, and it's because it's made by two indie people.
Right.
Noah Baumbach is one of the writers as well, so like Greta Gerwig killed it. And I'm like, what a weird movie, man. It's so weird, and like it is so existential and like just like
and
dark
funny as shit.
and really funny and just absurd as like really absurd. Like SNL, like it feels like an SNL skit, like the best SNL skit ever made, honestly.
I can see
it's
that.
just like it's and it's making a shit ton of money. Also, so is Oppenheimer. Like this is like the 4th highest grossing weekend of all time for movies, and I'm like, yeah, baby, movies are packed. They never went anywhere but movies, right?
And all the music is great.
Oh yeah, dude, Dua Lipa, my queen, I love her.
Ryan Gosling sings a bunch.
Oh yeah,
Yes, he does.
dude, he is Knuff. He is Knuff.
Oh my god, I want that so bad. They put I'm Just Ken, which is Ryan Gosling's kind of main song. It was online, and I didn't watch it.
Good, me neither.
Because I wanted to watch it in the film. But since it dropped on Spotify, I was like, yeah, this is on my rotation now.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Ryan Gosling was singing in this movie. I didn't even know there were musical numbers in this. Had you told me 3 or 4 years ago that I would be really excited to see a Barbie movie, I would have called you a liar. Now I'm really excited to see this movie.
Hey man, again, Lego movie, just like you just need the right creative team and passion behind anything. Anything would be good.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Barbie is one of the best movies of the year, I think.
I agree. I would agree.
It's high up there.
Yeah.
We had a great audience.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Me too.
So many people dressed up. Probably, honestly, the biggest like cosplay. Like the most cosplayed of any movie I've ever been to in my life.
A lot of ladies in pink. You could just be like, "Hi, Barbie."
I did. I yelled "Hi, Barbie" to people, and they were totally into it.
Yeah, it's I had a packed theater, which was crazy because it was the most packed the theater has been for me in weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked Barbie.
Yeah, it's really funny, and it is just seeing all the shitty men who are like, this movie is so woke, and I'm like, yeah, bro, it is. Hell yeah, it is. You are the point of the movie.
I wish I could, once again, like I fall into the same problem with like Joyride. Like I want to like spotlight some favorite moments, but I don't want to spoil any of it because people should see this movie as blind as they possibly can.
Again,
Ben is seeing it today. It's great.
Yeah. The trailers did a really good job of like the movie is consistently funny throughout, but like not showing the best parts. And even if it did show some great moments, like you see everything in full context, it makes everything funnier. It's just a really special. It's like a really special thing. Like it's really heartwarming and funny, and really makes you think about stuff. It's really great.
Yeah.
And everybody in the cast is really well utilized. There's a lot of people who I thought was going to be more stunt casting, just kind of like you because of the marketing. Like I thought you were just kind of going to see them as a different Barbie for a moment.
Oh, sure.
But like they're actively part of the film.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Barbies who have a lot of screen time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. True.
And there's a lot of really funny deep cut Barbies. There's Gravik. I didn't notice him. He's one of the Kens, and so is
Kingsley Benadire. He's Ken's best friend.
He might. I want to say like everybody's my favorite, but he has one of my favorite moments at the end.
He's Ryan Gosling's Ken's best friend.
Yeah.
Not Ken's best friend because that's Alan.
Yeah.
and Ncuti Gatwa, who is the upcoming 15th Doctor, is Simu Liu's Ken's best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really good movie. Highly recommend people go see it.
Honestly, like if you are listening to this, then you probably have similar taste to us. Like you will enjoy Barbie. Like go support this movie if you can. You know, it's a great weekend at the movies, whether you want to see this one or the other big movie coming out. Like it's a great time to go to the movies, man. There's others, and Mission Impossible. like unfortunately is underperforming now because 2 incredible movies came out the week after, which sucks. But like we're still getting the second Mission Impossible, so I'm not worried about it or anything. But like it's 3 weeks in a row, like it's a great summer, loving it.
I am. I know I said this before, but I am just so excited to see this Barbie movie. Just from the reactions online. Thankfully, nothing major has been spoiled for me, but all the people online talking about how great it is, all the people saying like I love seeing it. I mean, the jokes with Barbenheimer I think are hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I just can't wait. I am really happy I'm going to be giving this movie my money instead of another movie that's been coming out or that came out a while ago.
Oh, don't even. There's no reason to bring it up.
No. Yeah.
It's talking about Sound of Freedom.
I was going to say the name.
Wait, why would you?
Why would you?
I didn't thought you would even think
because
about
because someone at my work has been posting flyers saying go see that movie, and now I can't wait to see
the government post office. I'm not shocked.
Ben brings up a good point though, like just in general of being on the outside perspective. I'm really impressed with how there's a lot of conversation online about Barbie. There's a lot of people talking about it, and I haven't seen anybody give away what is actually happening in the movie.
Oh yeah,
while having those conversations about it, like everyone kind of knows. Don't reveal it because the marketing didn't.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of unspoken that nobody's like out there saying exactly the thing that the movie's actually doing it about.
It's about Transformers.
Well, he's right. Surprise! G.I. Joe and Transformers, they're both here.
Mattel and Hasbro, they put away their rivalry and joined forces. Yeah. Barbie, it's like Barbie Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
No, they've done a great job of not giving it away. And I'm really impressed. I'm impressed with the internet. Good job, everybody.
Yeah. Ben,
well done.
There's a specific cameo. I know we all love that. You will love. It's a merman, and you will love it. You will love it.
All right.
Sparks, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, I only saw Barbie. I did nothing else this week.
Ben, your turn then.
All right. So obviously, I did not see Barbie. I'm seeing it tonight, but I did watch 2 other things I wanted to highlight. One of them I have been watching, and the other that Brandon and we've also been watching, not together, but in the same vein. And the first one I will talk about briefly just because of how it made me feel, and that is Star Wars Rebels. I have finished season 2. I am 4 episodes into season 3. And after finishing season 2, I realized something. And when I say this, I'm not going, I'm just going to come out and say it. Star Wars Rebels somewhat reignited my love of Star Wars. It is so good. And it is truly I love every single character on that cast. I absolutely love, I think Hera is my favorite. Hera and Sabine are my favorites.
Nice.
I absolutely love them. I will die for them. I will be like Captain Syndulla. Sign me up. But even the story with Ezra and Kanan, the show's been out for a while. The season 2 finale with the Darth Vader, Ahsoka, and the reveal of Maul was so good. Was just so fantastic.
Season 2 is where I really fell in love with Star Wars Rebels. For me personally, and I had a similar reaction the first time I watched it. Like, oh my god, Star Wars is good, like really good, you guys.
And not to say that I lost my love of Star Wars. No, my love of Star Wars was already there. But with all the extra ancillary material, it was one of those things like there's so much more outside the movies that it's hard to keep track of. It's like it's hard to watch it all because there's so much now, especially now with Disney Plus and all the other stuff we're getting. But in watching Rebels to get ready for the Ahsoka show, I am more excited to see Hera, to see Sabine, to see how their stories end in Rebels. So when we see them again in Ahsoka, I care more about them than I do Ahsoka Tano. Not to say that I don't like Ahsoka Tano. I really like Ahsoka Tano. I mostly just because of her stuff in Rebels and the stuff I've seen of her in the Clone Wars, which admittedly isn't much.
Well, she's very good in Rebels. Like, Ahsoka, I think Dave Filoni really fine tunes Ahsoka in Rebels.
Yeah, I love Captain Rex. Old Captain Rex.
I love old Captain Rex. It's Captain Rex, Kanan, and Sabine are my favorites in the whole show.
Nice. And even just all the stuff about with Kanan learning the ways of the Force. Like one of my favorite scenes in the season 2 was when they go back to the Jedi Temple to talk to Master Yoda, and he fights the Grand Inquisitor who's wearing the Jedi mask, and he knights him and says, "You are a Jedi Knight as I once was." And it was such a powerful moment, and it was just so good. So seriously, guys, people who are like on the fence about Rebels, go watch Star Wars Rebels. I will say it has the Dave Filoni season 2 uptick, where season 1 is good. It's not bad. It is very good. There's still some good stuff in it about them fighting the Empire, but it's a grand overarching story of the rebellion starting small and then growing and growing and growing. And I absolutely love it. And even the time skip or and just seeing Ezra with his short hair and his green lightsaber in season 3, I was like, oh, this is a character progression. Yay, Sabine's hair changed again.
Sparks, it was your wife who looked at the Grand Inquisitor and Rebels, because you guys are both watching it also, and said that's not the same guy.
Yes.
I find that very funny, because
yes, we pointed out to her that it was the same man from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and she's like, no, it isn't. Physically, that is not the same man.
I wasn't going to bring it up because it is a rewatch, but I finished season 1 of Rebels because there was a watch along wonderful podcast, More Civilized Aged, that everyone should check out. But when I was going into Rebels the first time, everyone's like, yeah, season 1's fine and it gets better in 2, and I'm like, I agree, but I think season 1's really good too. I think it is a considerably better first season than the first couple seasons of Clone Wars, in my opinion. It still has kitty Star Wars stuff, but it eventually even that stuff isn't that bad. I think it's just kind of more generic than bad. But that final half of season 1, I think is really good. And that episode 15 finale with the Inquisitor versus Kanan, when Kanan thinks Ezra dies, and the Inquisitor's like, "Oh, bro, I just killed your friend. You got nothing left to live for." And he's like, "Actually, bro, I got nothing left to lose." And he beats him in a fight, and I'm like, "Oh, Kanan!" It's good. It's so good, and all the voice acting is great, and yeah, this budget it's not very good, but thankfully it gets better in the next season. Thankfully, yeah, I'm so glad you're here, Ben. It's just again Ahsoka looks so good. I'm so excited to revisit all those characters. However many years later, it's really Star Wars is good.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm 4 episodes into season 3. I finally met Grand Admiral Thrawn. Lars Mikkelsen's voice as Thrawn is just the whole time he speaks as Grand Admiral Thrawn, I'm like, you are the slimiest, most evil mother effer in the entire Star Wars galaxy. I instantly hate your guts.
He's great.
But God damn it, do I respect you? It's like that scene in Anchorman with whatchamacallit.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know.
You know what?
It's Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, thank you. You know that scene. But so guys, yeah, Star Wars Rebels is great. And even when I finished season 2, I was like, I gotta watch it. I gotta keep watching it. So I went and watched the next 2-parter opener of season 3. And I was like, I'm gonna not play Tears of the Kingdom tonight because I want to watch Rebels, because Rebels is just amazing. Yeah, I know, shocking.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I took a little time off from Tears of the Kingdom to watch Star Wars Rebels, but that's not the only thing. I am not a scroll.
I also didn't play it this week. That happens.
I still played it this week,
okay.
But I want to talk about Rebels because you guys know what I'm going to say about Tears of the Kingdom. But the other thing I watched is I caught up on My Adventures with Superman, and another show that is just so wholesome that once again reignited my love of Superman. And I have the biggest freaking crush on Lois Lane in that show. God damn.
You and everybody else.
Everyone else does.
Yeah, they got it. They know what they were doing.
I love her and Clark. I love them so much. I love Jimmy Olsen. I just love every single one on the show. I think the entire voice cast is fantastic. It is one of the most wholesome, most different Superman shows. Brandon, are you caught up or not yet?
I haven't seen the latest episode.
Okay, so I won't talk about episode 4, but I will talk about episode
real quickly.
3.
Where are you guys in Adventures?
We haven't watched more since last time.
Well, damn it. Okay, I will be very vague. One of the things I absolutely love about this show, and this you can see this in episodes 3 and 4 especially, and even in episode 2, is how they take classic Superman villains and they tweak them ever so slightly, but they're still recognizable. And the way they get that these villains get their powers like we've all seen episode 2. So Livewire, for example, how she has that electricity in her backpack, and she's not completely, white/blue like she is in the other anime shows. It's different, but you can tell who it is, and it works. And in this universe, it works so well. And I just absolutely love how they animate Superman. I just absolutely love how Clark Kent just like does his thing. I can't praise the show enough. And I am now so afraid of what that mother effer Zaslav is going to do after the season is over. Because
we're already getting a second season.
Thank God, because I want so much more of this. I could watch so many episodes of this show. If they keep pushing out great quality as they are right now, I just want to keep I said it earlier, just after episode 2, after episode 4, I know for a fact this is going to be in my top 15. My Adventures with Superman is the best Superman show I have seen in a very, very long time. No shade to Superman and Lois. That episode, I know that show was good. I've only seen the first episode. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. But this is the type of Superman that I feel like I've been craving for. I've been wanting a lighter Superman. I've been wanting a more wholesome Superman, a Superman who doesn't see the darkness and sadness and tragedy of everything. And while it is going back to a younger year one style Superman, it's not like the typical tropes of, oh, we have to do this, like we have to go through the motions. It goes through the motions in a way that's different and it's fresh.
But Ben, no one stays good forever.
Oh,
remember?
Okay.
Remember
on that
Superman
note,
said that in a Batman movie?
On that note, real quickly, I do want to just, I guess getting a second season is probably not a guarantee with Zaslav because didn't that Metalocalypse movie just come out and he's removing the show?
What?
Yeah,
Adventure
Brothers.
Yeah, the Venture Brothers movie came out this weekend on home media.
In 3 weeks, yeah.
And in 2 weeks, I think, or 3 weeks, the entire series will be pulled from Max.
Early next month. Yeah.
And the creator found out
on Twitter. Yeah,
I'm sorry. They're pulling Venture Bros.
Yeah. Well, here's the good thing. It's not Bennett. Here's the good thing. It's not a Max. It's not a Max original. It's an Adult Swim show, correct?
Yeah, it is Adult Swim.
Yeah. So it's not going to disappear. Adult Swim will most likely still stream it. So we can be thankful at least that anything that's not a Max original will be still around.
The point is that like making those decisions is like, why even have Max? It's so quickly turning into, some Warner stuff and mostly Discovery, and I'm like, I don't give a shit about that.
Honestly, I think that's why they changed the name because like they don't care about branding anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, lowest common denominator. We're gonna be Netflix.
I'm like, I might just start pirating HBO and be done with Max. Honestly,
there we go.
I'm so sick of it. My wife will be upset because she won't have Friends anymore. But whatever.
Bro, Friends is on the piracy too.
Well, no, I just mean like an easy way to put it on so she can sleep to it. That's what she does.
I get you.
All right,
but you can get the full series on like DVD and Blu-ray. It's there. It exists.
Yeah. Look,
we're talking about ease of convenience.
Streaming is really easy for the purposes of what my wife does because she's one of those people who leaves the television on to fall asleep. And just putting Friends on through a streamer is a lot easier than putting in a Blu-ray that will eventually stop.
Go to the menu
or loop on the menu.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. That's anything else, Ben?
Nope. My vs. Superman is great, amazing. Go watch it. Star Wars Rebels is also great. Go watch it.
All right. So shall we get into our bread and butter then?
Yum.
That's why we're here.
Let's do it.
Butter.
Okay. Sorry. I was muted for far too long. All right. So sad news up top. Tony Bennett passed away. Prominent singer, famous singer, one of the best, passed away at the age of 96.
Yeah. It's really it's sad that he's not with us anymore. 96 is pretty good.
Yeah.
He
was suffering from Alzheimer's as well, which is a big bummer. He was a wonderful guy. I've seen a lot of I'm not super familiar. Like I know some of his songs, but but seeing some of the celebrities that are a little bit older than us like just revere him, and like Lady Gaga loves him and was like a good friend of him and like helped him during his Alzheimer's and stuff. And I'm like, that's he seemed like a genuinely like great dude.
By all accounts, he's one of the sweetest men I've ever heard people talk about.
Yeah.
Everything about what like his outward persona seems to have been true. Like people describe him as a person who was just always smiling and all that kind of stuff. He seems like he was genuinely just always an engaged and kind person.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the strike. SAG, AFTRA, and the WGA are striking currently on the big studios. Real quickly, just kind of set up what's going to take up the bulk of this, I think, is that the SAG and the WGA filed a labor grievance against NBC Universal because so what they did was just after the WGA strike, NBC Universal began construction on the sidewalks outside their gates, which blocked them off and tore them up, which is a strike-breaking method to make it impossible for people to picket that they are disguising under it's just construction.
Mm-hmm.
2 picketers have been hit by cars because of this. No fatal injuries, thank goodness. But that's what happened this week. However, this week, NBC Universal decided to do their yearly trimming of the trees. We're going to talk about Treegate. So NBC Universal has did the what they called an annual tree trimming, which they do every year. Google Maps will tell you otherwise, because you can just go online and find out that in July of this year, by the way, July not the time you trim your trees. But NBC Universal was like,
well, like even then, this isn't trimming. This is cutting.
They took out they took out the shade for to try to break the strike. Once again, a strike breaking move. They can hide under whatever they want to. This is what it's for. To kind of alleviate some of the blowback they got, they they gave out tents for the strikers. Yeah, good for you. Anyway, the bottom line of what happened here is that everyone started to realize, wait a second, these aren't NBC Universal's trees. These are the city's trees. You mess with the city. The LA mayor has been out picketing with the strikers, which is really cool.
Tree law.
Everyone messed with one of our trees. He messed with all of our trees.
Everyone got really invested in tree law because the LA mayor is like, they're not supposed to do this. This is illegal. The city takes care of these trees.
Burbank's mayor.
Burbank's mayor, thank you. Not Mayor of LA, Burbank's mayor. I always forget that they are different cities with different mayors.
Yep.
Anyway, so Universal claimed that it was that they were in the right. They were not. So the city of LA fined them. Slapped with a fine of $250.
City of Burbank.
City of Burbank. Thank you.
Yes.
City of Burbank
Universal is in Studio City.
The city of Burbank slapped one of the biggest media conglomerates in the entire world with a $250 fine.
This is not their fault. This is the situation of how the laws are written about where the punishment scale would be. Like it doesn't scale up to like the amount that a company makes and what would be a punishable offense.
Sorry, that makes sense. I just got mad because I did see the story on my TikTok and I was like, that is some bullshit. That's horrible.
Believe it. If the mayor could have fined them for more, they would.
Yeah.
But they can't. They are looking still for actionable evidence that they can use about what this did to the birds, because there's a lot of strict bird law about moving and damaging nests, especially of hummingbirds, which notoriously have nests that are almost impossible to see.
Better not be messing with hummingbees.
So there's just people are talking about like there's no realistic way that birds were not affected by this.
Yeah.
And so they're looking into that because that is a much steeper punishment. But who knows?
Well, and also people are saying that the WGA and SAG need to be filing labor grievances because these strike breaking tactics are actually illegal. They are not. They are the strikers are allowed to have free, uninterrupted reign to strike your establishment. If you do stuff like tear up your sidewalks or trim your trees in the hottest summer in recorded history, that's illegal. You are actively attempting to break a strike, which is again illegal.
But 100%. But that is exactly why they're like shading it as tree trimming, or we're doing construction. So like,
that's what I said. Like that they are hiding it under these things, but it's so clearly not true. And this is just kind of me saying that WGA and SAG have not actually filed these labor grievances, but they're well within their right to, and I hope that they will soon.
To Brandon's point, they really can't do anything about the construction one because like you can't fight if they're saying like, well, here's construction, as long as they have the permits and everything, then like But because of the fine, the tree trimming thing is proven to have been the city's thing, and that they're just caught in a lie about what they did, which means that now that is actionable. Of we can file a suit and grievance about that, because that was clearly only because of busting the strike. There was no other reason that this should have happened, because Universal's never trimmed those trees before.
They did a bad grift.
Yes.
Well, tree law may have failed us, but bird law is coming.
Bird law. Bird law.
Bird law. Bird law.
Somebody get Harvey Birdman.
Get that thing I sent you?
Once again, we support the strikers in their ongoing fight for a fair deal.
I hate trees, though, so I'm really divided on this story.
We're coming in hot on trees. There's a couple more things that have been happening around the strike, such as FX's new Alien series that we've known coming from Noah Hawley for a while. That has started filming this week because none of their actors are SAG affiliated. They're all Equity, which is the British Actors Union.
Good eye. I'm an actor.
I guess go off.
Go off, Queen.
I mean, also don't have any writers on the show now because they're all striking. So maybe you wait.
That better be good.
I mean, Noah Hawley maybe wrote the whole thing and thinks, damn, I made a banger. And I would say, I'm like, you know what? I'll believe you because you're Noah Hawley.
To be fair, I totally 100% trust that dude writing a good script. So not so much like I'm sure that's definitely a dude who like writes a hardcore script.
And Noah Hawley's been working on that for a while. So
so I'm more positive on this one.
I want a good alien show, especially from Noah Hawley. So I hope you can pull it off.
It's so wild we're getting a movie and a show.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Alex Lothar from one of the kids from Andor and End of the Effing World has been cast in Alien. This is how he figured out that these are all Equity, because this kid's not SAG, he's Equity.
He's British.
Andor had conflicting reports this week that it was going to continue filming with its Equity actors and not its SAG actors. Because there are a number of the cast that is Equity and not SAG. Not Pedro Pascal though, so he's SAG.
You mean
Diego Luna?
Diego Luna. I feel bad about that now.
It's okay.
But I do mean Diego Luna.
Pedro Pascal's also in a Star Wars show. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's SAG, right? So you can't film with your star.
Him and definitely
all the Americans.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of British people on that show, so I'm sure they can do all the Luthen stuff. They can do the side stuff, but like, yeah.
Well, you probably can't do all of the Luthen stuff, but you can do a fair chunk.
Well, if it's just him and Clea, like they're both British, right?
Well, if it's him and Mon Mothma, they're both Equity.
There you go.
So
yeah, they can do all like this, like some of like the smaller scenes, I'm sure. Yeah.
But, however, that said, Deadline has reported that the show is actually shut down.
Oh, yeah, good. I'm sure they hit their wall very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we did all we could do with Equity,
and they don't want to shit on this one. Like, they don't want to shit this one out. They want to really make it good.
That would be really funny if these reports are actually connected. And initially they were like, we're gonna just do it with Equity. They filmed one day. All right, we got it. Let's wait.
It's like they do all the scenes with the actor in the foreground, and then the actor they couldn't get like just a shoulder, and they're like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. Let's just can we just make a real show, please? Let's just wait.
So yeah, you know what? I think all shows shutting down during these strikes is good because you will guarantee a better. I personally think a better product.
the more people on the side of the strike, and the less people working, the more that the studios will be like, oh, maybe we should do something about it instead of just wait for people to lose their homes.
Correct. A24 is not AMPTP. So they have signed a temporary contract with SAG to allow 39 projects that are currently in development to continue filming and to start filming during the strike with SAG actors.
Yep.
This one's interesting.
So basically what happened was it was first announced that these were like waivers that SAG was allowing to be passed out, but that's actually not what happened. A24, one of the smaller movie studios who puts out independent films, is committed to every one of SAG's offers for the contract. And A24 is like, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
because
Okay,
they're not part of AMPTP, they're not part of the negotiations with it.
Yeah.
So they basically said everything you're asking for,
We'll do it.
we agree with. Here's our contract. We're not part of that anyway. We're signed off. Let's just keep making stuff.
Oh, you mean one of the studios that makes all the best movies, all the best genre movies? They get to keep doing it, and they get to pay their actors and respect everyone who works. Oh my god, I love you, A24. Incredible. I thought this was bad news.
No,
Ooh, A24.
They're always
is-
too.
This is mostly good news because there is a good argument that has been brought up, which is that as of the productions that have been announced for A24, it is just the ones with the highest profile actors like Anne Hathaway and Paul Rudd.
Sure.
And it's making it's kind of making it look like, and maybe this is not A24's fault, and maybe this isn't even SAG's fault. It's probably mostly SAG's fault, to be honest, actually. They will say it makes it look like, okay, but your high profile actors can keep filming, but the ones who are below the line have to strike.
That's fair. Yeah.
Why is that fair?
Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, so many other great things. He said nobody should be working. If you're high profile, low profile, like if we're on strike, we should all be striking. I don't care if you have a deal or not. It's shitty.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. Like I really, really think it's great that A24 is giving, here's everything you guys want. Like you are being supported so we can make art. But also there are people, like you just said, Brandon, that are still in the picket line like, but I'm not getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's just like that's not fair to them because they don't work for A24. They're still, everyone's gonna suffer. And I'm like, it is double-sided coin for this one.
Yeah, there's, like I said, this one is mostly good news, and I think what is happening, it is SAG saying that we want our high profile actors to keep going. If it is anything, I think it is on SAG's end. But I mean, that said, we don't know all the actors and all the productions that A24 is doing. I'm mostly happy about this because it will show that a studio can break off from the AMPTP, and just make their own deal.
It's important. It's important in that sense. And like the contract, I would say like the contract should have gone through. I still think I would have at this particular juncture preferred that they held in solidarity regardless of the fact like they made the contract and they show that up as an example, but then as an act of solidarity they are not working on projects, at least for a time period. I understand that at a certain point A24 needs to, because they're also not in the position that the other studios are where they can just like ride on something. But like I would think that would be better served by like maybe not doing projects, but like at least allow the promotion of upcoming A24 stuff, like Talk to Me, and so that the actors can at least get out front and still share about like these small indie projects and like not be violating anything. And I think that would have been a better use of like what the contract allows rather than full blown making projects again. So that those actors are standing in solidarity and saying, we agree about all this. We're just also trying to spotlight our smaller projects.
Also, like they said, like it's like 30 projects. Like, like Anne Hathaway and Paul Rudd might be part of one or two of them. But like we just literally talked about Talk to Me, which is that's a small movie with a bunch of small actors. So like I don't think all of these movies are gonna star all the highest profile people in the world either.
But I think Bob Odenkirk has a good point of just like we all need to be on the same page.
I agree. It is.
It's tricky.
Odenkirk said that mostly in response to a report about Tom Cruise that has recently come out. But it was during the strike, Cruise had asked to be allowed to keep filming Mission Impossible, essentially. And he was saying, can some of the higher paid actors keep working, so we can keep doing that? And SAG said no.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Now, that happened
Wasn't it-
during the negotiations.
Wasn't it just to promote Dead Reckoning, not?
Oh, yeah, I
do
think
the
you're right.
reshoots?
I think you're
I don't
right.
think
It
he
is
was asking to do the reshoots. I think he just wanted to keep promoting Dead Reckoning.
right. I think it probably to help. I think maybe you're right. It was he wanted to allow actors to keep promoting their films.
Yeah.
The SAG said no. But that was happening during the negotiations.
Right.
Recently, apparently, SAG has asked Tom Cruise to go down to the picket line because it would be a pretty big deal to see Tom Cruise down there.
Yeah.
But Cruise said no, he'll do something else. So whatever.
But I stand with y'all. I just won't be there.
Yeah, and that's what Bob Odenkirk was saying was like everyone needs to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. WB Animation and Cartoon Network Productions. They've launched an effort to unionize. They are not currently a union, but they are hoping to join TAG, the Animation Guild.
I'm so glad you spotlighted this. Don't forget that the Walt Disney Animation for 3 months has been doing the same thing.
Yes.
Trying to push themselves to being recognized for getting a union. And this follows right after in the next 2 weeks, but they've already had their last days. Everyone who was working in the Cartoon Network Studios building is being moved out of the building. The Cartoon Network Studios building is going away because they're all being moved into Warner Animation as a lump thing. So Cartoon Network Studios, as it functionally existed, no longer will exist. Yeah. So it's cool that they're taking this moment to demand this, so that they're not kind of shit kicked around by Zaslav now that they're going to be folded under Warner Animation.
That is scary.
The Animation Guild is not as powerful as the other guilds, as the other unions, but if it continues to grow, it could be, and we could be seeing an animation strike, which would be incredible for the animation industry.
Well, this is the whole thing is like, we want the animators to strike because animation, like it's very unfair the way that animation workers are paid, compensated compared to regular television shows, despite the massive audience appeal that exists for cartoon shows, especially over the past 2 decades.
And the amount of work.
Because like over the past 2 decades, like cartoons have far and away evolved beyond just being considered for children.
Yeah.
So it's that, and it's, this ties in, like once those guys are moving up, we're going to get our visual effects and CGI folks also coming into that conversation the same way, because all of them are being mistreated in the same respect. So I'm really glad that they're part of the conversation now too, along with the Disney animation team. So hopefully more of them, because these two very high profile ones are fighting for it. And those are 2 of the biggest American animation studios to do so, because it's not just like the Disney TV animation, it's the Disney film animation that is demanding this. So it's great that now we've got this show. I'm hoping that Disney TV animation might follow suit.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that animation writers are part of TAG and aren't eligible for the WGA.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That there's also been like a lot of talk of like, reality TV writers and actors aren't part of SAG or WGA, and they want to be. They should be.
Yeah. So really importantly, we always get a reality burst, and you're going to see it when the strikes happen. And the reason is because they're able to skirt aside from these union rules. We all need to acknowledge that reality television is not just like, oh yeah, we'll just film it and it happens.
It is so heavily edited.
It is so heavily. It is so heavily scripted and directed, and a majority of the people who are involved in reality shows have aspirations to be actors in some way. They won't achieve it, partially because of the way the system is stacked against them once they are involved in a reality show.
Ooh, I got a fun fact for you real quick. In one of the very first Real World seasons, a little guy named Judd Winnick was the star of one of those seasons, and he was big. And then he was like, "Oh, I want to write Batman comics," and then he became a comic writer.
But reality show appearances have no residuals, no benefits in the long term.
It's the cheapest, fastest TV to make.
It's super duper exploitation, especially when like most people who are putting themselves out there, it is themselves, not playing a character. They whether they are playing it up when they're there or not, they are giving their name and their identity to it, and like that gets locked in.
Yep.
So it's really important that they get union protections as well. because it's going to diminish the amount that people are exploited through that system, because they are.
Right.
Nothing chews up and spits out faster than the reality series programming.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. What'd you call it? Labor summer?
Hot labor summer.
Hot labor summer? Yeah.
UPS baby.
Woo!
They
No
scared
one's-
the Teamsters scared the shit out of them.
Hell yeah. No one gets packages.
You guys saw about that, right?
No, I saw
heard it.
UPS is going to strike, right?
No, so the Teamsters were going to. They were doing practice rallies this week and all that kind of stuff. UPS has come back to the negotiating table because they're scared as shit. So there's a 2-week extension right now on the contract,
Yo,
where they are actually actively negotiating because UPS is terrified.
That's awesome.
Terrified.
I would be too.
There's been so many videos of the Teamsters out with SAG and WGA and everything, and like getting all this like hot support. Like they're a little freaked out.
Good. So there's been a lot of misinformation, I'll say, in the news, because a lot of news websites and magazines are owned by studios, so they're feeding the kind of headlines they want to see, which is mostly headlines about how the strike is hurting the film industry and not how the CEOs are hurting the film industry. And this week, a report came out that I found very strange, and I'm happy I wasn't the only one, because it said that Warner Brothers is considering pushing Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, Color Purple, and Dune Part 2 to next year.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Sorry. What'd you say? I'm sorry. I had a heart attack.
To 2024, and all these are coming out in the winter. So that I think the headline, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, was specifically designed to get public opinion onto the CEOs, because how dare they move my movie?
Yeah.
Because how dare the strikers move my movie? And to kind of put it away from the strike, but otherwise, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Some movies have already been moved. Challengers was pushed back to next year, which is the Zendaya film.
And Zendaya's not happy about it.
And part of this is studios are looking down the pipeline, and their release schedule is getting thin.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're looking at padding out a length. It does make sense to some extent that they want to pad things over a course of time. I'm not even, to be honest with you, while I don't want Dune Part 2 delayed, I'm not even entirely against it, because I'm like, it gives more time to spotlight these individual projects, and like the studios will feel the squeeze.
Yeah.
So the reason I think you're right, but it's the fact that they put out a thing about considering pushing, and it's like,
yes,
push it or don't.
Right. No, I'm sure it is to scare them, but I do think they're also actually talking about it.
Right.
I think all the studios are. I think they're all talking about pushing some of the like December, January, February, March releases out a little further, because they're not going to have anything lining up after that.
Yeah. Sure.
Good. Come back to the negotiating table, AMPTP.
It's their own fault.
Man, if Aquaman does get pushed into next year, that'll be like a year and a half.
We're in New Mutants.
We are approaching like, oh no.
Well,
like,
if it's delayed, it's not delayed. Sorry, just real quick. If it's delayed, it's not delayed because of like issues with the film. It's delayed to pad out their.
But it's also like a bunch of like the reshoot nonsense. So like I just don't know.
That's what I was about to bring up. It's Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is beginning to sound concerning, with all the things that have been going on behind the scenes that we just.
It's like on its like third reshoots, and I'm like, oh boy.
Which apparently went well, so I'm hoping that works.
I think it's going to be really funny if Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Aquaman 2, and Blue Beetle all come out, and Blue Beetle's the best movie.
Dude,
which is great.
I
Good for
saw
Blue Beetle, but I think that's funny.
Yeah, I do too. I did see only one review, but it is a guy and he's saying y'all are really not prepared for how good Blue Beetle is. But it is just one person's opinion, so like it's not a wide cast.
Well, but I mean, it kind of reminds me of like when Aquaman. It was incredible. Like it came out and it was like, oh shit, this is way better than Has Any Right to Be.
Hell yeah, it is.
But okay, just real quickly on the Aquaman thing. If the AMPTP is listening, can you guys tell your clients to put both? I want both Batman cameos on the Blu-ray, watch side by side. If they are not there, screw you.
Don't tell me things that I know I'm gonna want that I will never see. Don't do that.
I want both of them on that Blu-ray. AMPTP, Warner Brothers. That's who I should be saying this to.
Jonathan Amped.
All right.
Comic books.
I like those.
This is before we get into Comic-Con. Gods. Jonathan Hickman and Valerio Schiti's Schiti, sorry. GODS had some news. Basically a solicitation, like it's coming out in October. Get ready.
Spooky time.
So it reads, I'll have to read this. I did condense it, but this is the only way I can describe what this is by reading what it is, because it's Jonathan Hickman. He's crazy. The agents of the power that be and the natural order of things, like Doctor Strange, Clea, Mr. Fantastic, and Doctor Doom, learn of a Babylon event, a rare occurrence that has the potential to upend the forces behind existence, such as eternity, infinity, and the living tribunal. This cataclysmic threat will bring an eons-old war out of the shadows for the first time and shed light on a long-guarded secrets of the cosmos.
Jonathan Hickman was going to go to DC and do a new Gods book, and he did an interview saying that exact thing before he went to Marvel to do X-Men again. And I think he needs an outlet to do that type of shit. He's like, y'all, can I please do something like that at Marvel? I just spent a year making this new God shit that you won't let me do. And they're like, hell yeah, dude, do it. So all of our favorite big entities from space books, you know, like the Living Tribune and all them, they're gonna get like personalities and become like people and shit. And I think that's really cool. I'm totally into it. I love Valerio Schiti's art is insane. They've worked with Jonathan Hickman a bunch, and we all know and love Hickman. So like, this is great. This is like, this dude knows how to world build better than almost any comic book modern comic book writer. So it's gonna be juicy, y'all.
I'm really excited to see, because because I read Time Runs Out, the Avengers Time Runs Out, which led into Secret Wars. Like, you kind of take like what Jonathan Hickman has already played with these cosmic beings that we know from comics, and getting to just like focus on them is so cool and interesting. And he's like, yeah, Doctor Strange is in the first issue, but is he the main character?
Yeah, he's very much like, this is going to be a big like risk not for Marvel, but for people, because like, yeah, like the cameos are what get you in. This is an entirely new cast of characters, basically, on the grandest scale possible. So like, it is really cool. It literally is about the gods of the Marvel universe, like becoming like peoples. Like, let's go hang out with the gods. I'm like, that's really, I love it. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
I have both of his Shield books. I should read those.
The gods are not a place; they're a people.
They're a foundation. Oh, there goes foundation.
Sensational She-Hulk. A new ongoing series coming from Rainbow Rowell and Andre Genolet. This is, so if you guys remember, she had like a 15 run. Rainbow Rowell had a 15 run She-Hulk run. This is continuing that.
Yeah, I heard that went really well. So
you can't just let a book be ongoing. You got to relaunch it at #1 because it's not selling enough. You just can't. That's fine. I get it. It's as long as it's not canceled, as long as it still gets to go on, it's fine.
Yeah. So that's basically it. It's just continuing from that series. Same cast of characters, new situations.
New #1.
Army of Darkness Forever was dropped. Well, not dropped, but it was announced. I don't think at Comic-Con. But Army of Darkness Forever is going to be written by Tony Fleecs, who wrote Stray Dogs, last year's Stray Dogs. Written by with art by Justin Greenwood from Stumptown. Basically, this is what it says. The story picks up immediately after the events of the beloved film. So immediately after Army of Darkness.
Which ending?
Jumping between 3 fun timelines: the Techno Army of Darkness of 2093, the S-Mart Isles of 1993, and the Middle Ages chaos of Castle Kandar.
Ben's just like,
all right,
what?
That sounds
yeah, pretty much.
Sounds incredible. Oh yeah.
I'm so excited for you to know what the hell we're talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
later this year.
I'm like, Kmart? Did they just like make an off-brand version of Kmart?
Shop S-Mart.
Ben, shop smart. Shop S-Mart. The Techno Army of 2093 sounds like the coolest thing I've heard in my entire life. I'm into that.
That sounds like a Warhammer ripoff.
Yeah.
Now, This so initially this was pitched. This was announced as this is going to be a sequel from the alternate ending of Army of Darkness. As we all know, the alternate ending of Army of Darkness is
No, I
Ben
don't.
excluded. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about you.
Not yet.
Not yet. And
Not yet.
So it's going to pick up from there. But then if you read it, it's like it picks up from all three of the timelines, including that alternate ending. And I think that's really cool. I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I'm very into it.
Army of Darkness comics have been hit or miss, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever read anything comic related, unless
There's a lot of cool ones.
Yeah. So like, this is the one that like sounds the most enticing to me.
And Tony Fleek's Stray Dogs is great.
Mhm.
Like
I
I'm
own that
into
one.
this.
Y'all remember when like literally the canon of Army of Darkness comics led itself into the Marvel Zombies canon? Yep.
That's my October book club. I'm calling it now. That's gonna be my October book club.
I hope Ben's watched the movie by then.
I hope so too.
That's
It's gonna be really weird.
What the hell's going on here?
As Spark said, there's a lot of Army of Darkness comics, and it's and they're hit or miss. But Tony Fleek's on this one has me interested. The three timelines is such a cool idea. I'm intrigued by this.
Sure.
Did you? I didn't put this in the news, but did you guys see what I posted about Radiant Black? How the A and B covers are two different stories.
Yes, I did.
Just insane. I have to go to my comic shop and make sure they're not sold out of B cover.
I'm really happy for you about the Radiant Black stuff. It seems like it's popping off in a good way.
This was a really good Comic-Con. The Radiant Black stuff, which none of it's in the news, but yeah, I'm really excited for all of it. It sounds so cool.
Yeah.
But we are at Comic-Con now. Well, not.
Well, we've been here.
Can we get a chair? Wow, what a time! here at
Anti-monitor.
Comic-Con. Wow. Can't you see up there on the building up here?
Hey, he's one of them. There you go. But we are actually not at Comic-Con. We are going to be talking about Comic-Con starting with the Eisner Awards.
I still can't believe I completely forgot Comic-Con was this weekend. Like, it just like went, whoop, and then I'm like looking on my Instagram. I was like, "Hey, we're at SDCC." I was like, "Oh shit, that's back."
If only we had known a year ago
what Comic-Con it would be.
What the Comic-Con would be
I
this
would
year.
have killed.
I would have gone.
I would have killed to go to this one. This is the
I know.
dream.
It sounds so cool. Just video games, animation, and comics.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you could just walk into Hall H.
None of
Yeah.
the big
I saw a
studios are
picture
there.
in Hall H was like almost all empty for one panel. I'm like, that is impossible to imagine a couple years ago. Incredible.
All right.
Like,
Ben, you had something?
is it not as super crowded as it used to be? Is it like actually you can move around and you can
it's still it's still crowded. It's still crowded, but the panels aren't crowded.
Okay.
There's not as many people because there's considerably less like big things, and that's why a lot of people go is for the big things as opposed to now. It's been that way for at least since Twilight.
Since Twilight.
Well, yeah, Twilight ruined it for everyone else.
The very first year I went was in 2008, and it was just before Twilight stuff.
Yeah.
And so like that was a great year, and I had a window into like, oh wow, it's really easy breezy. And then the next year Twilight showed up, and like all things went to freaking hell because all of a sudden there were a ton of people that showed up just for that.
Before that, you didn't have to wait in line the night before at Hall H.
No, you waited like 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
I will never forget my very first Comic-Con with Brandon and Sparks, because Sparks was there. We hung out together at my very first Comic-Con, and it was when we waited outside. We camped outside in line for a Hall H, and I was like, "Is this how it is every year?" And Brandon's like, "Until after 2008, yeah."
Yeah,
this is the Comic-Con experience. You camp out. You have a nice hotel room over there, but nope, you have to sleep on the ground, which I did, and
now we have WonderCon.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Now we have WonderCon. Anyway, the Eisner Awards.
Yes.
We are not going to be talking about all of the winners, but congratulations to all winners. Of course, the full list is below in the description.
Yay.
We'll start with Best Letterer. Went to Stan Sakai for Usagi Yojimbo.
Hell yeah, get it. That dude's been killing it for decades at this point.
Yeah. Best digital comic went to Barnstormers by Scott Snyder and Tula Lode, which is a Comixology original.
Tula Lode is
yeah,
awesome. Scott Snyder has been doing. I don't know how that dude puts out so many comics, because he's not just like, he doesn't do much DC stuff. He does so much independent stuff, and he has like his own label now. He has a bunch of comics, and like that dude's like starting to do like movies and TV stuff. Like that dude's working really hard, man.
Such a weird time to have a Comixology original up on the Eisner.
Yeah.
It just shows how good that comic was.
Best web comic went to Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith.
Woo! Webcomics.
Lore Olympus continues to win.
Is that about actually Olympus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the story of Persephone and Hades, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
I remember because Punderworld is the same thing, but by Linda Sedgwick.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It's the same story, but told through a different lens. Best writer went to James Tinian IV for House of Slaughter, Something is Killing the Children, Wind, The Nice House on the Left, The Nice House on the Lake, The Sandman Universe, Nightmare County, The Closet, and The Department of Truth.
Bro,
Tynan continues to kill.
Yeah, the Tiny Onion himself. I think he won last year too. Actually,
I think so too.
Yeah, he's won multiple years.
I
Like
need to.
he's been killing it.
I really want to
Oddly-
read the House by the Lake, and
I hear it's like
Yeah.
it's like the best horror comic.
I want to catch up on Something's Killing the Children for sure.
Department of Truth rules. Yeah. This dude, I gotta tell you, man. Like years ago, when he started out as DC, and he was like under Scott Snyder's like wing, and he was doing like some of the smaller Batman books. Talon, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's cool, but like like almost 10 years later, like he's like one of the he's the best writer of the year. Like he's killing it, man.
Yay, Tiny Onion.
Yeah,
I've
that's
just-
his blog.
I would just like
Memoir of a
wait
Tiny
for
Onion.
Yay, Tiny Onion.
Yeah.
Best writer artist went to Kate Beaton for Ducks 2 Years in the Oil Sands.
Ooh,
Quack.
good job. Quack.
For you. Best cover artist for multiple covers specifically went to Bruno Redondo from Nightwing.
Woo! Bruno,
I know a
that
certain
dude-
friend of the podcast is probably going to be very happy about that.
Oh, is it?
Could it be
Dick?
Grayson?
It is Grayson.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
No, he's-
Bruno Redondo worked with Tom Taylor on Injustice, and his art has gotten considerably better. Because if you remember some of that early Injustice art, there's some really wacky faces, and he's upped his game 1,000%. It's incredible.
Yeah, Nightwing is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous
Yeah.
book. The covers specifically are awesome. Best graphic album reprint went to Parker, the Martini Edition, Last Call by Richard Stark, Darwin Cook, Ed Brubaker, and Sean Phillips.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, Parker's
All
cool.
good. All good names. Happy to see Darwin Cook get another posthumous Eisner.
Paka.
Mhm.
Best penciler, inker, or penciler inker team went to Greg Smallwood for The Human Target.
Woo! That's a great. I have yet to read that. That's one of the few Tom King books I haven't read because I'm behind. But Greg Smallwood is incredible. He did some great Moon Knight stuff with Jeff Lemire. He's outstanding talent.
Best coloring went to Jordi Belair for The Nice House on the Lake, Suicide Squad, Blaze, Ant-Man, Miracle Man by Gaiman and Buckingham, The Silver Age.
Whoop whoop. We actually just read a book club a couple weeks ago that Jordi Blair was colorist on. So bing bong, good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Which one was that?
I think it was a scroll book we read.
Oh yeah, that was a really good one.
That was a
Really
good.
like that.
Best comics related periodical / journalism went to Panel X Panel magazine, edited by Hassan Oatsmain Elu, I hope, and Tiffany Babb.
Yeah, I wanted to spotlight this one in particular. Are you guys familiar with Panel X Panel? Magazine that is talking about comics and has a lot of good conversations with the comic creators and everything. The reason I want to spotlight this one is because its last issue for a while came out this year. It capped off at 70 issues earlier this year, and that will be it for a while. They've said they're going on a hiatus, and when they return, it's going to be in a greatly reduced schedule, and we don't know when that return will be. It's won an Eisner the past 3 years before this year, but I wanted to spotlight it just because it's a really excellent magazine. You guys can go to the back catalog and panelxpanel.com and just check through and see what kind of things would pop your interest, because it's worth doing. I've read a couple. I'm behind by a lot, but it's worthwhile. You just get like really great conversations out of it. It's a
I
good magazine.
I do love interviews.
It's cool. Best short story. I'm really happy about this. Best short story went to Finding Batman by Kevin Conroy and J-Bone in the DC Pride 2022 edition. That's just that's just really nice that really personal, beautiful story that the late Kevin Conroy wrote won an Eisner.
Yeah.
It still does not feel real that he's gone.
Yeah.
And I hate it so much. I understand that's part of life, but the fact that I have seen him, I remember the fact that he was there. I remember when Brandon got his autograph and he was just there, and now he's not. Just hurts my soul so much. But I'm so glad. I mean, posthumously, it sucks. I'm happy he won an Eisner. But this still hurts.
You'll hear him in Suicide Squad when you buy that game for $70.
Oh god.
That's not out yet, right?
No, it's not out yet. I'd rather just replay the Arkham games, and I'd rather just rewatch Batman animated series.
We'll talk about maybe a Kevin Conroy performance coming up. But yes, really like that story. I highly recommend it. Even if you don't want to read the full DC Pride, which you should, it's good. Best single issue / one shot went to Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler by Tom King and Mitch Gerards.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, I heard that one was really good.
I heard all the One Bad Day stuff was great. Like all those things were all had great teams. All people seem to really like it. You can buy a really, really expensive, like $100.
It looks so cool.
It looks so cool, but it's so
and it comes
cool.
with it comes with the right. It comes with the right edition of The Killing Joke.
Yes, yeah. One day, if that goes on sale, I will absolutely buy that because I hear this is all like they're all just great little self-contained like little stories. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Best new series went to Public Domain by Chip Zdarsky.
Hell yeah, Chip's killing it. This is a book that I believe he's writing and drawing, which he hasn't done in a while because he felt so strong about it. It is about working with IP and corporate IP and public domain, and like it is a very funny but very serious book, like almost in a way that Barbie is. It's very cool. I only read the first issue, but I hear that it won an award. I'm like, all right, hello book club.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's Chip Zdarsky. Every time I hear his name attached to anything, I'm like, that man. I have not read a bad Chip Zdarsky book.
I've never read a bad Chip Zdarsky.
Every time I pick up a comic book that has his name on it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a banger. This is gonna be amazing.
It's true.
Best limited series went to The Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood.
Yo, man, you give Tom King 12 issues, he'll give you the greatest comic of the year.
And best continuing series went to Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo.
Good for Tom.
Hell yeah, dude.
Good for the Toms.
Yeah, Tom Supremacy, I guess.
Good job, Toms.
And again, congratulations to Mr. Tiny Onion himself for winning Best Writer. That's awesome. The full list is linked below if you'd like to check out some of the winners and who was nominated and didn't get the award. Check it out.
And Hall of Fame stuff, all that good shit.
Yeah. Wait,
Marvel
comic.
Sorry.
No. I just heard. I know we were talking about it before, but did someone? Oh, Tim Sale. Tim Sale got into the Hall of Fame. That's what we were
Tim
talking about
Sale.
earlier.
Tim Sale was one of the comic book creators who was inducted into the Eisner Hall of Fame.
I would say worth it.
This was announced. These are the Marvel comics that were announced at Comic-Con this week. Not all of them, just most of them.
There's a lot.
X-Men Blue Origins, written by Cy Spurrier and Wilson Santos. It's going to be a one-shot, which will act as the definitive origin for Nightcrawler.
Woo!
Definitive.
This is incredible. This is super incredible because I know you all don't know this original story. We know you've read Modern X-Men with Krakoa, and Destiny and Mystique are together, right? They're a lesbian married couple. They are the parents of Nightcrawler and Rogue. That is the canon, the subtext canon. What happened was because Marvel was homophobic, they were like, no, what if we have Azazel, this demon, be his father? So all these subtext of him being like, oh, I'm a Catholic guy who looks like a demon and I have trouble with that being a mutant. Mm-hmm. They just actually internalize and like, oh, you actually are a demon. And it ruined Nightcrawler's character. It ruined the relationship with Mystique and Destiny. It did a whole bunch of nonsense. So Marvel and the X-Men team were like, all right, cool, let's fix that dumb shit and just let the parents be the parents of these kids. I'm so excited. I love it. Destiny and Mystique are the greatest parent couple, murderous terrorists alive.
I love Cy Spurrier. So I'm really excited for this also.
He's writing the new Flash
Flash.
series, and I'm going to pick that up. It's gonna be the first Flash comic I buy in a million years. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Punisher. A new Punisher series is coming, written by David Peposi. Written with art by Dave Watcher. This is going to see a man named Joe Garrison, a SHIELD Black Ops agent, a retired SHIELD Black Ops agent, take up the mantle of the Punisher. David Peposi described John Garrison as the Danny Ketch to Frank Castle's Johnny Blaze.
I'm glad.
Yeah, that's fine. This one, I really like this guy, David. He's an up and coming guy. He did Savage Avengers. He did a bunch of indie books I really like. So like, he's an incredible writer. I don't know, like I have to really see like what Marvel will let him do with a Punisher book, because if this is just I'm an ex-SHIELD guy and something bad happened to me and I kill bad guys, like I just don't care. I really just don't care. No matter how good the book is, like I don't want this is just another Punisher. So I trust the writer to do something different. I'm wondering if Marvel will let him do that. So I'm excited that like this is the first time the Punisher is getting an actual legacy character that's sticking, because he has had proteges before that Marvel wouldn't let them become the Punisher. So I am interested in this, like, because again, like Frank Castle's character, like I think we can move beyond Frank at this point. Let him do weird stuff with demons and then being leader of the Hand. So like I'm really interested in this, but again, I need that first issue to actually sell me instead of just I need to take out Scum, because like that's boring.
I like his outfit.
It is cool, and like the ammo belt is like the teeth for the skull part. That looks pretty sick.
It does feel like there's an opportunity to redefine the Punisher.
Yes.
So
and I really, again, with this writer, I think he is absolutely capable of it. But again, will Marvel allow it to be like real? We'll see.
Right.
Yeah. Celebrating the 10th anniversary of Superior Spider-Man, we'll see the release of Superior Spider-Man Returns. Written by Dan Slott with art by Ryan Stegman, Mark Bagley, Giuseppe
Camicoli,
and Humberto Ramos. It's going to be a one-shot, which will see the return of Doc Ock as the Superior Spider-Man.
To be positive, those are the top 4 best Spider-Man artists of the past decade. Those are all people who are incredible artists and have worked on Spider-Man and have worked with Dan Slott and other Spider writers. So on a positive, that's fine. This is the 10th anniversary of one of the greatest Spider-Man books ever made, and Spider-Man is not in a good spot right now, so we're just going to do old things new again. I'm sure this book's going to be fine, but again, like this is just like a nostalgia thing, so like, I'm sure it'll be great. We'll see. I don't know.
So this is spinning out of Dan Slott's Spider-Man, which seems to be ending, which will most likely end after they're done with doing their Spider-Verse thing. The end of the Spider-Verse, I think, is the arc they're doing. And then it will go into Superior Spider-Man Returns. And then it will go into an ongoing Superior Spider-Man comic.
Yeah.
Written by Dan Slott with art by Mark Bagley.
The thing that's interesting, Mark Bagley is like maybe the best Spider-Man artist. He just draws like big gangly spider people. He's so good. He was the Ultimate Spider-Man guy for forever.
Long time.
I don't know where Doc is right now in the timeline, but like does he want, well, I guess Dan Slott's writing it, so he can do whatever he wants. But like before Dan Slott came onto this book, like where was Doc Ock at? Does he want to be a good person and be Spider-Man again? Like I need a good reason for this to be happening again. Maybe everything that's happening in Amazing Spider-Man, like because Peter's not being a good Spider-Man right now, maybe that is inspiring Doc Ock. Who knows?
There's a pretty prominent rumor going around that Zeb Wells is going to turn Peter into the Green Goblin.
I don't know how that could be possible, because they're doing something. God, that'd be so funny. Do whatever you want in that book, man. I love you. Whatever you're doing with Spider-Man is awful. Even though like I like the main book, like the story stuff is awful. I don't know. Like this is just not for me. It's just not for me. I'm sure it'll be good, but like I have Superior Spider-Man from 10 years ago, and that book is incredible. We're gonna do it again, but different. I don't need that.
Yeah, they are apparently. This is spinning out of an arc that Slott had wanted to do in his first Superior Spider-Man run, but didn't. So he's adapting it for modern Spider-Man.
That's fine. Tons of writers are doing that now. The thing is, like, is this going to be this takes place 10 years ago, or are we just telling that story now and we're just making Doc Ock into Spider-Man now? And I'm like, I think I'd rather just be in like a nostalgic story.
Well, it is like they're like he's not a clone. He's not he is Doc Ock back as Peter Parker in modern day Spider-Man.
That's the thing. Like, that's a lot of leaps.
If they were doing like the
that's
same
a lot
thing,
of leaps.
if they were doing the same thing as like when we read the Symbiote Spider-Man book that we really enjoyed,
it takes place
and
in the
like
past.
it takes place in that time period, then just as like here's a story you didn't see from that point in time, I'd be
Yes.
like, yeah, okay, whatever, fine, do it.
Yeah.
But it's
But
Doc
like-
Ock
but
in
like-
Peter's body now.
Forcing us back into the Superior Spider-Man setting, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, might just be
I
the
would-
path.
I'm kind of. I mean, I haven't read Superior Spider-Man. I will eventually someday. It's probably gonna be a book club for me one day, but I'm more with Ryan. I would much rather than be like Doc Ock is just like sitting at a table and it's like and just reminiscing about this one time he was Spider-Man, and I don't know.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny.
That's my little 2 cents about it.
How was Spider-Man once?
So, move on to DC Comics. Again, not everything announced, just some of the highlights.
Real quick, I'm sorry, you didn't put it in the news, and I'm grateful. But there is a giant Marvel event called Gang War coming out, and it's the worst way to do events. It's where every single issue, part 1, part 2, part 3, is in a 17 different books, and it's like everyone's mad about it. I'm glad I didn't put it in this.
is there also
all right.
something with Moon Knight and Power Man?
Do you have that news?
Timeless?
Yes,
No, I didn't put Timeless. In
I
there.
will look that up because that looks incredible.
Yeah, it's a I don't know who's writing it, so Ryan looked that up, but it's Timeless is going to be like a kind of culmination story like the last one, that will kind of usher in that will like tease future events to come, either ones that will happen or ones that could happen.
All right, first I want to show you the picture. It is the immortal Power Man versus like a evil mega Moon Knight. Let's see. It is written by, oh my god, it's written by the Hive Mind, Colin Kelly and Jensen Lansing. Art by Juan Cabal, who worked on Guardians, is incredible. Let's see. In a devastating future born from the choices of today, all of time and space is threatened by the ascension of an ancient evil. The immortal Moon Knight has risen, a nightmare born of Stark Tech, the eternal machine, that's the Eternals, and the god of the moon. And now all of Earth bows before its overwhelming power. Power Man, the Marvel Universe's final living hero, has to stop him with the powers of Sentry, the Hulk, and Iron Fist. That just sounds like a big, crazy cosmic nonsense. But the Hive Mind writing it, those guys rule.
Yeah, that actually does sound really great.
Yeah, it sounds sick as shit.
That cover, the cover with Luke Cage with the Iron Fist.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
like,
I love Luke Cage with a big white beard.
Yeah.
I love it.
It seems so cool.
I also didn't put in Giant Robot Hellboy, which is a 3-issue miniseries that Mike Mignola is doing, where Hellboy becomes a giant robot.
Sure.
It also looks very cool.
But DC Comics,
Yes.
there
heard
is
of them.
there's also a couple MonsterVerse comics coming, so that's cool. But they had their DC Comics had their like movie premiere where they showed Justice League War World, and at the same panel they announced what the next 2 animated features will be coming out next year. I don't know which one to say. One of them they announced was an animated feature, an R-rated animated feature based on Watchmen,
Neat.
which I think is a mistake.
I've been thinking long and hard about this one because I love Watchmen a lot. I think it is probably the most seminal comic ever made for various reasons.
Mhm.
And whether you like it or not, it is important and it is very good.
Well, that's true.
This is the best way to adapt this.
That's true.
It is not a movie. It's not a live action anything. If anything, it's a
No,
live action.
It's an animated movie. So those
know.
DC animated films, it's this.
No, I know. I'm saying it shouldn't be a live action show. It shouldn't be a movie. It should be a cartoon, but it should be a cartoon TV show.
Oh, I see.
Unless this thing is 6 hours long, just like the
You're gonna
movie,
lose a lot.
you're gonna lose a lot. Unless it's a part 1 and 2, even then you're not gonna be able to do everything.
Well,
This
you know
needs
what
to
they'll
be a
do?
TV
They'll
show.
release it. They'll release a like super extended version, and they'll take the same comic pages about the ship and
Yeah.
from
The Black Friday,
from the extended Blu-ray one, and they're just gonna slide it right in.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm kind of in agreement with you. Like, I'd rather an animated like miniseries.
Yeah.
If anything, if we're really gonna do another Watchmen adaptation, like, I don't know that we need an animated
because
film.
Watchmen is not something that you can truncate. because you lose a lot of the value in the small details.
Snyder clearly misunderstood a lot of the characters and what the story was trying to do with Watchmen when he made the live action version. But part of the problem of why that didn't work was because it was a truncated story.
Yes.
Even in his most extensive version, it's still not getting everything.
Yeah.
And I think an animated film is going to suffer just as much from that choice.
Yeah, and I feel like they would have said if it was doing like a part 1 and 2 thing.
Yeah.
So the fact that they didn't, like, these movies are generally like 80 minutes long. Like, there's no way in hell there's going to be a great adaptation of Watchmen done in 80 minutes. Again, like, I think this is the best way to adapt it is in animated form, because then you can just do the comic stuff and like all the great visuals and stuff. But like, so much what makes Watchmen special is the smaller details and all the subsequent stuff in between the issues about like all like the fake book and all the police investigations and all like the newspaper articles. Like, Watchmen is not just a comic, like it is a full thing. It is a full ass thing.
It is weird to have
There's a comic in a comic.
To have The Dark Knight Returns and Long Halloween both get 2-part editions.
Yeah.
And if Watchmen doesn't, that's very strange.
I'm hoping they just haven't announced it yet. I'm hoping.
I don't think they should be doing Watchmen right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of there also, Ben. Like, I don't think I think Ryan's right that if they announce we're doing a hard R Watchmen animated miniseries, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where you're going with this. But this kind of film for Watchmen, this team, these people, I don't trust them to do Watchmen, and I don't think Watchmen needs another movie.
No.
Yeah.
It needs sorry.
If I may, I think after the television show, but the HBO television show, which I will still say is one of the best TV shows ever freaking made. It is fantastic.
Every word.
For sure.
We should not touch Watchmen for a very long time.
I love you.
Well, if Alan Moore had his way, no one would touch Watchmen.
That's true. If Alan Moore did have his way, no one would touch it. But
right.
I honestly think that Watchmen is when I say this, it is not to depreciate the value of the book. It is not to depreciate the value of the television show. It is just because this is how I feel. Watchmen is low-hanging fruit.
You're right.
As in, that is the thing where if Warner Brothers, DC, whomever is like, we need to do something that catches people's attention, Watchmen. That is
right,
like
Ben.
the easiest one that they just have to. It's not something high. It's not. It's like
No, he's right. You're right, Ben, because Watchmen. So the numbers for these movies aren't great right now. The sale numbers for these movies aren't great. Watchmen will sell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, obviously we don't run DC, we don't run Warner Brothers. They're gonna do whatever the frack they want to do. But I honestly think that putting Watchmen as just a hour and a half, 2 hour, maybe 2.5 hour animated film is a bad idea. I think.
Oh, this is not 2.5 hours.
Obviously not, but at the same time, I don't think this will work. I mean, we all have said anything could be good, but I think Watchmen is just one of those books, and it's just one of those properties that DC should not be touching for a very long time.
Yeah,
That's
Watchmen
just
is. No, you are right, Ben. It is absolutely low hanging fruit, and the problem is that Watchmen is so effing good that DC needs their other books to be as good as Watchmen. So they will put Watchmen into everything and anything they can to try to make it feel like it's higher, it's elevated. Because Watchmen is not a superhero comic, despite having superheroes in it. That's not the point of it. And they will dilute that thing until Alan Moore is dead, and then they will do everything to Watchmen, and it'll be truly awful. I'm glad we're not there yet.
I mean, I know I really enjoyed the Watchmen film when it first came out back in 2009.
It has good stuff in it.
It does have good stuff, but that television show, that is like, to me, that is like the perfect sequel to Watchmen. That is like the way they made that show was so effing good. It was, to me, I will still say is. I don't know how Alan Moore thinks of it. He probably never saw it. I honestly think that there's one thing Alan Moore. Yeah, I just love that show.
Alan Moore will not like anything that has come from Watchmen. Just full stop. And he'll never watch any of it. Watch or read any of it.
Probably not.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him.
But you're right. Like if he were, you'd want it to be that.
Yes.
Because that's like the best possible outcome. And now that we've had it, it's kind of like, well, there's nothing else to do with Watchmen, guys. Like there really wasn't, and then we were proven wrong one time, and we're done now.
Yeah, I am fine with having the graphic novel, the HBO television show, just the one season, just the one and done. And I'm like, I'm good. I am set. I have
Not
had my
everything.
fill. I can go off to other things. Let me watch. The one thing I want more of is My Adventures of Superman, whereas I don't want more Watchmen.
Superman is IP. Watchmen is not IP.
Exactly.
Watchmen should not be IP. That should just be a piece of art that gets to exist.
Take it up with Doomsday Clock.
I do. I did.
So, but Ben is correct in the low hanging fruit thing, because as I said, none of these movies have been doing particularly well sales wise. And you put Watchmen out there as a Blu-ray, people are going to pick it up. Like they will. They will see Watchmen, and they have to, regardless. They're going to look at the time like 80 minutes of Watchmen. Cool.
Hell yeah! Wow. My favorite hero Rorschach, my infallible hero Rorschach.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I suspect they won't fall into the pitfalls that the live action did. I'm sure it will be slavishly faithful.
I hope so. I hope people who like that movie watch the animated one and go, "Ew, this is awful." I'm like, yeah, these characters are not good people, you dummies.
While being truncated.
Yeah, while being truncated.
We're not making the same mistakes twice. No, you're making all new ones.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, what a world.
The second animated feature is called Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths. It is not clear if this will be a Tomorrowverse movie. Most likely will be. This movie is not a surprise because this has been rumored for a long time to be coming. It's been kind of known that Hamada has been wanted to do Crisis on Infinite Earths in all the mediums. What this will most likely be is what has been rumored. Will have heroes encounter Justice Leaguers from across the animated shows, not everything, just the animated shows and movies.
I'm 100% behind.
Yeah, so we'll most likely this is why up top when I talked about Kevin Conroy's Eisner, I think this has Kevin Conroy's final performance as Batman.
Ooh.
Is that just a guess, or do you have a reason to think he recorded something for this?
Because of the rumors. There were rumors that they were recording that Kevin Conroy was already cast as Batman. In order to have this come out next year, this will have already had to have been recorded at this point. So I do think that Conroy is in this.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see if Suicide Squad gets delayed again then.
Because here's so quickly though, the second Adam West Batman anime feature, he had passed away before that movie came out, but he had already recorded all of his dialogue. I think a similar situation has happened here.
Yeah. This is a weird time to do a Crisis movie.
Yeah.
In terms of this animated universe.
I think it's because, like Brandon said, like we have known about this for a long time. I think this is one of their like they're not making this like, I don't think this is going to be like one of like the cheap 80 minute ones. I think this is kind of a bigger, because again, Crisis is not a small comic. That is also a huge, incredibly dense comic. So if you try to also do this in 80 minutes, I'm like, what are we even doing?
Do you think they're doing it just like an adaptation of the comic, or are they're doing it with
an original version of their thing?
They're doing it with this universe. So we're going to reset this universe already?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a universe reset. I think it is just meant to be something that has been in production for a long time, a celebration of the previous things, kind of like the Arrowverse. I know the Arrowverse did like a soft reboot, but I think that's what we're looking at here.
I think this took so long, and maybe the pandemic made it worse, but like this is just like a big celebration movie that has all of the different types of animation.
Sure.
Almost like a Spider-Verse, with just obviously not that caliber, but like something that has everything that we've ever made together.
I'm excited to see them hang out with the Titans from Teen Titans Go.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, what is likely we'll see the DCAU. So we're looking at like Terry McGinnis and Kevin Conroy most likely. And we'll probably see the previous DC movie universe, the one before the Tomorrowverse started.
Would we? Because technically, aren't they the same?
Yeah, because
they flashpointed into being this version.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, but you know the Flashpoint universe still exists in the comics, so maybe it still exists somewhere.
That's why I think it's not going to be a direct adaptation. It is going to be not a resetting thing. It's just going to be, we need to get the multiverse involved. It's just a multiverse.
Well, movie. I'll just say this. Yeah. Like, here's my thing. I totally get going back to like the DCAU.
Yeah.
Justice League Unlimited, Superman, Batman. I get that. I get the appeal.
Where's the Batman?
Seeing them all show up.
Beware the Batman.
That's more like what I'd expect to see. Seeing anything from the previous DC movies, I'm like, Do we
Sure.
need to? in this? Are they
that's-
that different? Like, do we need to see them?
That's only that is only speculation on my part because of where the Constantine House of Mystery movie ends.
I get you. I'm just like engaging with it in like a visual way. I'm like, that previous era doesn't feel very distinct to me from the current one.
Besides some black lines.
In a major way where I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a big deal if we see those guys meet those guys.
No, I get you.
Yeah. I think this is a nostalgia trip movie just to combine everything. We'll see Teen Titans back. I know they already did the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go, but I think we'll see both of them here too.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm actually excited for this. If I'm right, and this is Kevin Conroy's final Batman performance, I'm actually really excited for this.
Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah.
There was the season 4 trailer.
Now you got some gas.
That's true.
You bring Harley Quinn's Batman into this.
Oh my god.
I'm interested, baby.
Wild card.
with this Crisis movie introduced, I just thought back of my original point with Watchmen, how the crises are also low hanging fruit, but that's low hanging fruit I'm totally okay with.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not opposed to a Crisis on Infinite Earth adaptation. Oh, no. I like the Arrowverse one.
I gotta tell you guys, like the further we get from the Arrowverse one and everything else that the DC medias have been doing with the multiverse, I'm like, damn, they really did a good job with that Crisis on Infinite Earths. I mean, the CW shows died after that, but like they did a good job.
A bunch of
they've been building to the Crisis for a while too.
No, yeah. I'm just like thinking about like the Titans had one, and like it was like the Flash but sadder.
That's really good.
The Flash but sadder. That's great.
But yeah,
just like he's looking around in a nebulous space, and just like little graphic holes open, and you see footage from.
He talks to Grant Morrison. Okay, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Wait,
that is cool.
That is straight up from Animal Man. They're just doing Animal Man in Titans.
You're right. That one part of it is really cool.
I think that 5 seconds are pretty cool.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And then everything else, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah, but the Crisis on Infinite Earths Arrowverse one is like people looking at like what the Flash did and bringing back all these heroes from previous entries. Like
Green Arrow Spectre stuff.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon Routh returns as Superman. Like, yeah, they did it, man.
That was great. I'm excited for this one because if it is going to be a celebration of DC animation, and let's be real, DC animation has had a vast history, not just the DCAU with Batman, Superman, the Justice League, but also other shows that a lot of other fans love. Batman, Brave and the Bold, Beware the Batman, Green Lantern.
Batman.
Yeah, a lot of Batman, but also Green Lantern.
That's part of the joke. Yeah.
But also maybe Green Lantern can show up. That would be cool. Brandon, I know you're a fan of that Green Lantern animated series.
That's a good. That's a good show.
Oh,
that's a great show.
Ben, you're right.
Oh my god!
Did I just break you guys?
Do you think?
Damn, I am on a roll.
Will they go that hard?
Ben, here's the thing. I didn't think it would be on the table, and you bringing it up, I'm like, I just.
Will DC be that bold?
No, I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying.
Green Lantern, the animated series, ends with a fight with the Anti-Monitor.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me.
Real quickly, DC Animation, just the studio of DC Animation, whoever had been trying to end Green Lantern, the animated series, in other DC animated shows for years. What if they did it? What if they finally did it?
Look, man, you're not going to hear a single complaint from me if that whole crew comes back, because that show was.
I just don't.
That show was good as shit.
It's true.
It went
good.
Yeah.
The ending of that show went through Justice League Action and then Young Justice.
We weren't doing the podcast stuff the way we are now when that show was on.
Yeah.
And I wish we were, because I would have talked the shit out of that show.
It was a different time.
Man, that was a good show.
Future animation station.
Ben, that's super cool. I don't have faith in them to be that bold.
No,
yeah,
but that would be cool if they did. And also because just the fact that already this Crisis film is being set up to be in a celebration of the animation shows, and like you just even mentioned, Young Justice. I honestly would love to see Bruce Greenwood as instead of the Batman, but even the Young Justice kids show up in this. I think that once again, will they be that bold and crazy? Probably not. But at the same time, as
Reasonable.
long as this Crisis film is a celebration of all DC animated properties or all DC animated superhero stuff that we have gotten over the past 35, 40 plus years, give or take, I am.
Fleischer Superman.
But yeah, let's bring in
Why
Fleischer
not?
Superman. I love
Honestly-
those old cartoons.
Spider-Man
Honestly-
did it.
Honestly, that'd be cool as shit.
Yeah.
Lego
Ooh,
Batman.
Lego Batman.
You know what? Screw it. Bring in the Super Friends.
Sure.
Challengers.
Bring
All
in the Legion of Superheroes show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring in Aquaman. Everyone's favorite Aquaman.
You know
from
what?
that show.
I just cannot believe that I broke Brandon with the mention of Green Lantern, and he was sitting there going, why is he talking about Green?
No, it's just I just didn't realize. I just didn't put two and two together that if the team behind many of these animated shows have been trying to find ways to wrap up the ending of Green Lantern, the animated series, in the other shows, I didn't think that they could have just figured it out here.
A final note on this before we move on is just if all of these sound super interesting, and when it is just our Tim Sale, our
Bruce
DC,
Timm.
yes, Bruce Timm, our DCAU universe, the original one with the Batman, Superman, Justice League Unlimited, and then just the previous era of the movies, and that's it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, well, all right, because all this cool shit is on the table, and I'd rather see all this shit instead of the previous era of movies show up.
Yeah, we'll learn more next year. I think Watchmen will be the first one, which kind of sucks. I'd rather it reversed. All
yeah.
right. Comics now. Outsiders. Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing are going to be rebooting The Outsiders for DC Comics. It's going to be a 12-issue series that will see Batwoman and Batwing take over the team. They called it a weird, pulpy adventure book.
The 12-issue thing makes me really excited because generally when DC, again, Tom King is the master of this. Like, you give someone 12 issues to do what they want, it's generally going to be pretty dope.
Right.
The team's really cool on this. I'm really excited for all the weird people on this team.
Batman Gargoyles of Gotham. This is not a new announcement. We kind of knew this was already coming, but this was this is coming out in October, and here's a first look announcement. So this is by Rafael Grandpa, with colors by Mateus Lopez.
Love it.
It's gonna be a 4-issue miniseries coming out twice a month, I think they said, or every other month. It's Black Label.
Sure.
Are you laughing at Grandpa, Ben?
No,
Okay.
I'm laughing because I know it's not happening, and I just thought it'd be really funny.
Gargoyle crossover.
Yes,
Yeah.
Batman
Okay.
hanging out with Goliath. Can you imagine Batman and Goliath going through Gotham City and through the
That
night
would be-
sky? That
I
would
would
be the
friggin'
dopest
sick.
shit.
Bring the gargoyles to Gotham.
Bro, that's
That's
a
so
Disney. That sucks. That like sometimes
It's
I'd be
not
like, that'll never
happening.
happen. That will
It's
never
not happening.
happen.
But how bad? Someone, you know what? F it. I might find an artist somehow to commission that shit for me because I
There's a
think that's
webcomic.
badass.
Gargoyles was so clearly spiritually the answer Disney had to the Batman series.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's so very obvious that that's what they were going for, and nailed it to their credit.
True.
Brandon,
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
Brandon, I'm sorry for putting in my stump thing. I'll be quiet, but I just thought that was funny.
God, like honestly, you get me so hyped with just a poster that's like it's even just their black silhouettes.
Yes.
But it's the one where like you see Goliath's wings up and you just see the white eyes, and the white eyes on Batman. They're both just their dark silhouettes standing next to each other in the rain.
I'm
I'm
imagining the Dark Knight Returns cover where Batman's in the lightning, but also Goliath is there. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I'm mad at Ben for bringing that into my life.
yeah. Another cool thing we will never get because of corporations.
Guys, I don't know what's with me today. I want to freaking roll.
Good idea. Jenner.
Batman Gargoyles of Gotham will center on a version of the Dark Knight who has decided to abandon his identity as Bruce Wayne and live as Batman on a full-time basis.
Ooh, we actually haven't really done many of those types of stories, I don't think. That
No,
sounds
it'll
okay.
be-
That sounds cool.
It'll kind of be like a descent into madness kind of story as he's trying to deal with that.
What is Batman walking away from the trash can, leaving behind? That's like Bruce Wayne. He's leaving Bruce
Like,
Wayne in the dumpster.
$200 like underwear.
Yeah.
And like nice shoes.
His wallet's just hanging on
Yeah,
the side.
hundreds falling out.
His Rolex is just there.
Bruce Wayne, no more.
He throws
Would
a
it be his
Lamborghini
tuxedo?
into the trash.
It would be his
Yeah,
tuxedo.
it would be his tuxedo.
into the trash.
What'd you say, Ryan?
A Lamborghini in the trash.
The whole thing.
Oh my god.
Or he just puts-
the Lamborghini sticking out. He's walking away.
He just takes a trash can, puts upside down, puts it on the roof of a Lambo, and says, "Garbage now."
Garbage day.
Kneel Before Zod was announced this week also. Written by Joe Casey with art by Dan McDade, which was going to be a book set in the final days of Krypton as Zod seeks revenge on the House of El.
I'm into that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I really like the creative team. And I'm sure this is the story that's been told a bunch, but like, you know, it's always fun to get a newer perspective with new art and stuff. That sounds cool.
Yeah. All right. Godzilla versus Kong versus the Justice League.
You know what's coming.
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. Kong versus the Justice League will be written by Brian Buccellato with art by Drew Johnson and Christian Duce. This is going to be the Monsterverse Godzilla and Kong. So it's a legendary DC crossover event. That's what they're calling it. 7 issues. There are other Monsterverse monsters in this. The plot that Buccellato talked about at the convention was that because this like Monsterverse Godzilla is like part of the balance, like, you know, has to keep the balance of nature. When he appears in the DC universe, the balance is so far out of whack because of all the heroes and villains that he decides to just go ham on everyone.
Sure.
Which I think is kind of fun.
Sure.
Well, yeah, coming out in October.
I'm impressed it's 7 issues.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like 4 or 5 when I was first seeing the images coming out for it.
Yes.
7 makes me believe that there's actually like some story to
I
tell.
really hope so.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I will need to read the first issue. I'm not 100% sold just because like Superman could like I'm this is like me being dumb. Like Superman could take these both out like with like an instant. So like whatever the story is that like makes it so like the entire Justice League cannot defeat King Kong. I like if this were like Spider-Man or like, you know, the Avengers, it's like the power dynamics a little different.
Sure.
So I need a better story to give me a reason, because like I don't need Superman to fight Godzilla. Honestly, that's not the 5-year-old fight in my mind, I imagine.
What's interesting that you say that is that Ultraman is about to fight the Marvel Universe.
That makes he's in the Marvel Universe now. That makes more sense to me. That feels like a 1-to-1 I'm okay with.
I always have this mental idea that like the way power scaling works is if you're in your universe, your powers are like priority. So like if Superman visited the Monsterverse,
yes,
his powers would scale down.
Sure.
So Godzilla would be more powerful.
Sure.
But because they're coming to the DC universe, I kind of agree with you where I'm like, what's Godzilla gonna do?
I'll even like Godzilla can like shoot atomic breath. Like King Kong's just a big monkey, and like we have small monkeys who can do mind control. So like I personally don't give a shit about Superman fighting King Kong whatsoever.
Okay, but if Kong is like leading
Grodd.
Grodd's army,
see, that's where it gets fun. In 7 issues, I'm like, what the hell long form story are you telling here? That could happen.
I mean, I'm just imagining Superman fighting Kong. Goes, man, did Titano get bigger?
Well, that's the thing about the Monsterverse versions is that none of these are villains. Godzilla and Kong aren't villains. I definitely don't think that as for a versus title, I feel like this is like Justice League versus Power Rangers, where they fight for a bit and they're friends.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
definitely.
I'm sure that's true.
Yes. Even
and
still,
I think
like,
that's what's going on here.
Yeah, like Superman still like I think again, like there's going to be a story reason, but like all these monsters are probably more powerful. But like Superman fights giant monsters like it's nothing.
It's guy again loaded on kryptonite.
See, there you go. If it's like
oh my
Space
god,
Godzilla, I got it. I literally, guys.
Oh, you're so right.
This is going to be in the comics. Space Godzilla is going to have kryptonite crystals on his body. That's going to happen in the story. I'm calling it now.
I wish you were right, but this is just Monsterverse.
Oh, then it's boring.
Oh,
then I don't
that's
care.
right.
More actually, it's boring. It's going to be boring.
So it's Rodan, Mothra, Ghidorah, and then the other ones that were introduced. That
Wonder Woman and Superman would have literally no problems fight. So like I'm sure it'll be fun. Like I am definitely bringing like I'm being a nerd here, but like this is like it doesn't seem interesting.
they can do Space Godzilla if they don't call it Space Godzilla.
That's true. That's true.
They can make a new monster and be like
it looks like Godzilla, but it's got kryptonite crystals. Man, that looks kind of familiar.
Again, this isn't like it's
but
canon.
It didn't come from space,
yeah,
so I don't know.
This is canon to the comics, not to the movies. Like I'm not like
no, but it depends on who they have the rights to.
Sure.
I'm not gonna watch the next Monsterverse movie and go like, man, I know Superman's off somewhere, not doing something right now. Like that's not the world we live in.
Well, no, of course not, because this is a crossover where Godzilla and Kong pop into their universe. I meant who has Toho given Legendary the rights to use as far as monsters not from the MonsterVerse?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different Godzilla. It's not Space Godzilla. Wink.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
that's
see,
why they can't
then
just be like Space Godzilla.
Then the fear is like, oh, we want to use Space Godzilla in the movie, so you can't use him in this comic. So we're just gonna get like the lamest villains that they can get.
We'll see.
Yeah, I've actually always been curious to know if MonsterVerse, if Legendary would try to get the rights to Space Godzilla, or if they would want to try and get. Personally, I think they should go for Gigan.
I think they
That
want
would be
to.
cool.
Like deep in my soul, I believe Gigan is the desire.
They do
It's just-
Chainsaw Boy.
And
It's just
Hedorah.
really-
Honestly, you can do Hedorah again.
You can do Biolante easy with an environment.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's really tough. Biolante has been on my wish list for a long time. It's really tough for Legendary and Warner Brothers to use other Toho kaiju because each one of them comes with their own price tag.
Yes.
So it can become very, very expensive after a while.
I
Yeah,
think-
they have the money.
I think for me, like, again, because this is 7 issues, that is a long time to tell this type of story. Maybe there is a version where the Justice League does get transported to Skull Island or something, and their powers get diminished, and they have to be like, they have to survive as humans or something. That sounds okay. But if it is the entire Justice League at their full capacity, having to fight a bunch of monsters, and it's like, we're having trouble fighting King Kong, and I'm like, I don't want.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. I need a good story.
The art,
As Donny Cates always said, the winner of the battle is whoever the writer needs to win for the plot. I personally am trepidatiously excited for this. I really do like the art, as Sparks just mentioned. The art I think is really great.
Mhm.
Brian Buccellato is not the first person I'd probably trust with a 7-issue version of the story. So I'm curious to know what this is going to be, because it's not just going to be Kong and Superman duking it out. There's more to this, like a lot more to this.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what that is.
the bare minimum I'm hoping for is that it just gets a little more interest and popularity for the MonsterVerse comics, because like they're not all good, but like when they are good, they're really good.
Yeah.
And I want more storytelling there, because Lord knows we're not always getting it in the movies.
True that.
There's a MonsterVerse declassified book coming out that Legendary is putting out. This isn't in the news, but it's going to be a I guess it's technically a comic, but it's like a book of all the monsters that have been introduced in the MonsterVerse, including ones from Godzilla X Kong New Empire.
Sure.
Right
Which I think is kind of cool. Also, the tabletop role playing game looks like a lot of fun. Star Trek news. Oh, kind of.
I actually made Brandon angry with that one. I triggered something inside of you.
Now I kind of wish we had a little dinger this episode that make a ding every time one of us breaks Brandon today.
Sure.
like the Krillin own count from
Krillin own count.
Yeah.
All right. This year is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek the Animated Series. So in order to do that, they canceled Star Trek Prodigy. Yay! No. They are actually going to do a series of short films or short episodes. We don't know how long they're going to be. 5 of them in total, drawn and written by Casper Kelly, which is going to be about characters like Riker, Quark, and Saru are the 3 that we know now. There's 5 of them in total, and it's in the style of Star Trek the Animated Series, that old Filmation animation style.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad they're celebrating that. Real quick, just because you brought Prodigy, shouts to Paramount hearing the fans. They're making sure they're getting that Blu-ray out for the second half of the season.
Yes, really happy about that. Finally getting the full season out on Blu-ray.
I mean, you could just put it back on Paramount Plus, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you could just do that.
I mean, do both. Do both.
Porque no los dos.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool idea. There's been a popularity of Filmation Star Trek for a while because of there's a gentleman, I forgot his name now, who did a Star Trek the Animated Series style of an episode of Next Generation and Voyager, and it looks very cool in that style. And it's also cool that like Jonathan Frakes, Armin Shimmerman, and Doug Jones are going to voice their characters in this.
Yeah, of course. That's a cool way to celebrate.
Yeah.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is a show that 3 of us watch,
It's true.
has announced that its 9th episode will be Star Trek's very first musical episode called Subspace Rhapsody.
It's giving once more with feeling, and I don't hate it.
Buffy.
Same. There is a trailer for specifically that episode that is out. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Nope.
I watched some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah. Looks very fun. I think it's wild. Star Trek has never done a musical episode before, and I'm glad they finally found an excuse. Yeah. Kirk's back, I guess. I think Paul Wesley can sing, which is why it feels very much like what's the crossover Supergirl, The Flash crossover musical episode?
Oh yeah.
It feels like that, like they're getting all the characters that they know can sing to sing.
Yeah, because where they like turned John Barrowman into someone's dad. Barry's dad, I think
Barry's dad,
yeah, for the story, just because John Barrowman can sing, and so they wanted to have a song about the dads both singing.
It was Darren Criss, right?
Yeah, Darren Criss playing
Music Meister?
Yeah. So they had like everybody singing, and like Iris's dad could already sing, so like it didn't matter. But
that was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode. That's really
was a fun episode.
Ice cream.
Yeah, so this feels very much like that. Like we have singers on this crew. Let's make them do it.
Yeah. Chapel's gonna have a big number. Clearly.
Ooh, good eye.
Excited for Jess Bush.
And then they also released a trailer for Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4. They also did a Discovery thing. I think it looks very fun, but that's really all I have to say about it. Star Trek Lower Decks.
Does Lower Decks just keep going until it runs out of movie posters to parody?
I assume and hope. because I'm glad you were at least told that. But yes, the season posters are parodying like Star Trek the Motion Picture for season 1, Wrath of Khan for season 2, Search for Spock for season 3, and now Voyage Home for season 4.
Wrath of Khan is a very famous poster, so I've seen it, and so when I saw the cover for 2, it was very obvious to me what they were doing.
Yeah. I think that's very cool. But anyway, this season looks great. I know, Ben, you're far behind on Lower Decks.
I am, but Lower Decks is a show that I always want to. It's in the back of my mind. It's like I need to get back to Lower Decks, but other things have been coming up. But I do love Lower Decks. It truly is a fantastic Star Trek show, and the fact that we're still getting more just makes me super happy.
It looks like the Lower Decks crew are up for promotions, which is going to be interesting because they will no longer be #Lower Decks.
Lower Decks.
And there's also a reference to the episode for the Strange New Worlds episode crossover, which I thought was kind of cute. It looks really cool. It looks really wacky in the fun Star Trek 60s way, but with crazy Star Trek 24th century characters. I had a more specific thing I wanted to say about it, but it's gone now. It looks very good.
Cool.
Rick and Morty, the anime. We're in trailers now. From now on, these are Comic-Con trailers, but like from now on, it's just trailers. So
burp, it's me. Hey, it's me. I'm not in jail, Morty.
Rick and Morty, the anime.
Yeah. Really what we get is the intro and then discussion about what the anime can be.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, like, again, as we spotlighted before, when actual Japanese like creators get their hands on making an anime adaptation, and it's not just like fed through the playing a game of telephone of like, well, I watch a lot of anime but I'm a Western creator and I'm just going to regurgitate out what I think anime is. There's a lot of like really popping style that is very, very much of the medium, and I'm very appealed to it. I'm certainly hoping I'm intrigued by the statement of, by the end of it, I think this entire 10 episode jaunt will have given you all the feelings of what watching Rick and Morty is. And I'm like, that's a statement. To say like this whole thing is just kind of a vibe piece of Rick and Morty. I'm really interested.
What got me really interested was the guy saying, I wanted to encapsulate everything I love about Rick and Morty, all the elements I love about Rick and Morty in these 10 episodes while giving them a Japanese twist. And I'm like, that's really interesting. I'm so curious what that is.
Yeah.
Uzumaki.
Woo! Yeah, we still don't know an exact release date. Hopefully sometime next year.
It was supposed to come out last October.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's been on the dockets for some time, but I honestly delay it as much as you need to. Uzumaki is a incredible piece of work, and to have it adapted in this way where they're so painstakingly and lovingly churning it, like adaptations, I kind of prefer that you kind of make your own thing with it. But when you're doing like the comic or manga to animation adaptation, like I don't hate when you go like slavish to it, especially when it's this artistic. So
when it's someone with a unique vision, you want to see that vision through.
It is very much the manga just in motion.
Yes.
But it looks really good.
I was shocked how good it looks. There were certain points when the animation almost looked like it was like rotoscoped, where like when they were moving, it was like so smooth. And I'm like, oh my God, they're really putting effort behind this. And it is so it's like a 2.5 minute trailer, and it's kind of just like we're seeing like a scene. It's not like a trailer, it's a scene.
It's a clip
and it's like so well paced, and it's like it's taking its time. It's not trying to rush anything. It's like it's setting into the atmosphere. And it just looks incredible. And the coolest thing, not the coolest thing, one of the coolest things is that the person doing the music for it was the composer for Hereditary, of A24's spookiest movie. So it's gonna have the grossest vibes. It's gonna sound awful in the best way. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I think this looks awesome. I've been looking forward to it ever since it was announced in 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love how the spirals have been animated into the world, and then the dad going crazy. It's like, oh, he can't even get into the bath unless it's a whirlpool, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Ben, did you watch that one?
I did not.
Okay,
that's okay, man.
Because I remember seeing it on our text thread last night, but then when I woke up this morning, I was watching the rest of the trailers I hadn't seen yet. I completely missed it because it wasn't on the docket.
Okay.
But everything that you guys have just said, I know Junji Ito's art style, and it's gorgeous and it's horrifying. But everything you guys said sounds like one of my worst nightmares. So I'm like, yikes.
I would like to do a book club special on the manga. I know it's big, but like when the show comes around, I think.
I'd love to do that. I think that would be a lot of fun. There are two very, very disturbing sequences in particular. There's a lot in there, but like there's two in particular that I'm like, an animation with that music. That's nightmares. Like that's nightmares.
Give me nightmares.
Mortal Kombat Legends cage match.
I'm so glad they're still doing these.
Yeah.
And that it's not just like we're not just telling another like straightforward story. This is very much like, this is like it's like it takes place like not 1980s, but it is all of the 80s aesthetics, and it's the music, and it's the people involved, and it's like it feels old in a good way.
Honestly, that's why I love this so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is because it's 1980 something. And it's like it's like 1980 something, 1990 something, or very early, like 89, 90, where you have the crazy 80s. Yeah, you got the crazy synthwave, the shoulder pads, the cars, the
Jennifer Grey,
the neon retros, even the logo looks something out of the 80s. And I'm like, I love this aesthetic. I absolutely adore it. And I'm for it. Actually, the movie itself looks pretty good. Johnny Cage isn't one of my favorite Mortal Kombat characters, but after seeing this trailer, I was like, yo, I might be down for a cage match. Let's go. Okay.
I really like Joel McHale as Johnny Cage. And I've only seen the first two, Scorpion's Revenge and Battle of the Realms. Realm Battle? I don't remember. I haven't seen Snowblind yet. But I really like these, and I'm glad that they're still doing this cool little Mortal Kombat universe in animated format. Yeah. And I really like how they visualize Johnny's powers.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really nailed that.
Yeah,
these movies must be doing well enough if this is the fourth one that they're making. Like I would have assumed, like with how Warner Brothers is going, like let's just scrap this animated Mortal Kombat thing. Who cares? But like they seem to be doing well enough, and like that's awesome.
Yeah, I hope that trend continues, because I think this is a cool way to engage with Mortal Kombat stuff. And again, like just this being very unique compared to the previous three, and really letting McHale get on his bullshit with Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
is really, really fun. I'm excited to catch up on these.
Me too.
We're gonna have a big Mortal Kombat back half of this year.
So. I really hope so. I'm really excited to like you said, like this little Mortal Kombat universe. Like it is the things that we know, but in its own flair. I think that's really cool. And it's like every movie can be different. Like if the next one wants to be about about like the Dragon King Onaga and be like a horror movie, that they can do that. Like this movie looks like a cheesy 80s movie as opposed to the last couple movies. And like that's really cool that they can like be inventive and still be successful. So like I hope we see like 10 of these and like every character has its own genre. Like that could be a really cool like sub little universe.
Yeah. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, though, Mortal Kombat 1 Umgadi trailer.
Dude, how does this game look so good? Oh my god, I can't handle it.
The game continues to look good. The main reason I want to keep this trailer on here is because we learn a change in lore that is pretty cool,
pretty dope as hell,
which comes from Baraka.
Yes,
where they're no longer a species; they are people who have been allowed to suffer.
Yes,
at the hands of debilitating disease that is eating away at them literally and disfiguring them and being cast out because of it.
That's how we get Melina in this one.
Yeah.
She gets the Tarkatan disease somehow.
Thrilling lore change.
Yeah, you know what? Mortal Kombat 1 just jumped on I need to buy this when it comes out list. Because don't get me wrong, Mortal Kombat 1, I was excited about it. I was like, this game is gonna be awesome. I love how they're changing the stories. But then what the second with Melina as the princess and she's diseased and she has all that like that lore change that Sparks just mentioned, I'm like, oh, everything's different now.
Did you watch last week's trailer about Smoke and Scorpion and Sub-Zero?
Yeah.
Lin Kuei.
I saw the Lin Kuei trailer. That shit's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited, honestly, for us all to get to sit down and go through this story because there's so much being thought about on the table here, and they've given so much to these characters, especially like seeing Melina's like history stuff and like all this tiger usage with her powers, and man, it looks so cool.
So I think that was actually Li Mei using the tiger stuff. Because Melina, But what is so cool about this specific trailer, it focuses on a lot of the female characters, and like Li Mei and Tanya, those are probably the two like least important Mortal Kombat characters of all time. Like they were in one game and then like they get mentioned maybe like once in a comic, maybe, right? They are nothing. So like the fact that they're being given this high priority instead of giving it to to Sonya, who's been in every single game, like these new characters, also these diverse characters that have a more diverse cast, which every game has been getting more diverse, and actually having people of color and Asian people play people of color and Asian people instead of white people. It's great. Like this game is looking to be like the most incredible fighting game ever made. Like I am in all the cameo stuff. Like Jesus, dude. Like
as far as we know, this is only set in the far past. So we won't see. I don't know. Will we see Johnny Cage or Sonya's not in this?
There's the trailer with Johnny Cage in it. We're in his mansion.
I thought Cage was just a cameo. I didn't think he was.
Kano.
The trailer we watched, like he is a playable character. We are in his mansion. It takes place in the modern day.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think Kano was a cameo.
Modern day stuff.
Yeah. A lot of lore stuff has been changed. It's going to be interesting to see. Like
this is Mortal Kombat 1. It just means it's like this is the 90s.
No, I know. I know what I remember when we see Kung Lao is that it's not modern Kung Lao, it's his ancestor, the great Kung Lao. And that's what cued me into, this is just the past. We're not going to the future.
No, it's because that this also takes place with like ninjas and monks and stuff. Like that's just happening in their monk territory. But then we also go to Los Angeles where Johnny Cage is.
I think also like because we don't have all the details yet, Brandon, it does seem to me like that what Liu Kang has done is like he's kind of quashed the timeline in on some events to make them closer to each other. That's what it seems like anyway.
We need to play 11. We need to play 11.
Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake. Sparks.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I didn't believe this was coming anymore.
Yeah, I kind of figured like one way or another we were probably going to end up with something, even if it ended up just being a special.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this.
I think it looks lovely.
What was the flat the 2-dimensional shadow dude in this cube? We see that cube in this trailer. Prismo, thank you.
Yeah, Prismo.
We see the cube he lives in this trailer.
Yeah, Prismo kind of lives outside the multiverse. In a sense, at least in Adventure Time's context. So I think it seems like we're getting a Fiona and Cake rendition, like they're stuck in the same thing that kind of happened to Finn at one point in the show related to Prismo, where he ends up in the world where where before the nuke has gone off and he's with his family and everything. And it feels like we're kind of in something similar, and Simon's there. Who knows why? Stuff's happening.
The first ever thing we heard about this is that this is a multiversal adventure with Simon and Fiona and Cake.
Yeah, that seems very clear that that's happening.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. We get a lot of hints that we're going to really dive into more about Simon. Distant Lands kind of left Simon in an interesting place, mostly because it doesn't focus on him at all. And we get a flashback to Simon and Marceline in this trailer before he was the Ice King, but just after he found the crown. So you see that. And so I'm really curious what the story is going to be. It looks crazy. It looks unhinged in the best way possible. It looks completely impenetrable to anybody outside of Adventure Time fandom.
I'm going to propose something to you, Brandon, that I've been wondering if it is the story. I wonder if this is not Simon post Adventure Time in Distant Lands, but this is Simon pre-Ice King. And that this is why he's been obsessed with Fiona and Cake the entire time that he was the Ice King, is because he had this adventure before he ended up back in.
That's some Doctor Who shit.
Because we do know that we first learn of Fiona and Cake as fan fiction, and then we find out it's memories being beamed into his head.
Right.
So, yeah. So instead of being a sequel, this ends up being a prequel.
Right. I'm wondering if this exists as something Simon ended up caught up in trying to prevent becoming the Ice King, and ultimately fails at the end.
Rip.
Be interesting to see. I'm really excited. I'm glad we're getting this. Can't wait.
Because I just like, we're seeing a lot of shots about like a lot of focus on him with the white hair starting to come in and things like that. And I just don't think we would put Simon back in a position where he's going to become the Ice King again. So I'm wondering if that's what's on the table.
So the way I interpret it is that because I also saw wrinkles, is that he's growing older, not turning into the Ice King. So I thought maybe that's kind of my headspace going into like, this is a sequel thing, you know?
It could be. I'm not ruling that out. I've been thinking about it for a while, because I'm like, it would make sense if he had this entire adventure with Fiona and Cake, that he is like his last thing he does before he's completely consumed in the Ice King identity.
Right. All right. Spider-Man 2 story trailer.
Harry's Venom.
Oh yeah. Didn't we know that?
No. Everyone was hopefully speculating that it'd do something new and interesting, but you start the trailer with him talking about curing the city, and then you end the trailer with Venom saying we're going to cure the city, and I'm like, I hope that's misdirect. I hope that's a big misdirect.
Well, I felt like also at one point didn't the creators be like, you don't know who Venom is, and I'm like, don't we?
I think this is an arc.
I always, but like that, I never understood that statement, because at the end of both video games, it's ended with Harry with the Venom symbiote around him.
Yeah.
So like, I always assumed when Venom was announced to be this, there was never an ounce of me that didn't assume from the get that this was Harry Osborn.
See, I didn't want that, because that's the boring way to go, instead of having it be Craven or having it be Peter or something like that.
The only way I see it's not Harry is if it's Norman.
I think that's the
only way I see it not being Harry.
I think they're building Norman up to be the big bad for 3. With how much more he's in this game. Like, I don't think they want to waste Norman, specifically because you got Craven too. So like, I just hope it's not. I hope it's going to be really interesting, because being a open world Spider-Man game where when you beat the game, you can still play the game after, are you still going to have the Venom powers when you beat this game? And I'm very curious how the game will end, because like, we're not going to go into Spider-Man 3 with the Venom suit, right? Like, that doesn't. I'm very curious. This is an interesting, having the Venom suit in this and like using the powers is very interesting for like completing the game and where the story will be. I'm very interested in that aspect.
This trailer makes it pretty apparent that we're going to play as Venom, not just Symbiote Spider-Man.
I hope so. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, baby.
Which would be a lot of fun to do again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I for the most part, I really enjoyed this trailer. I don't like Mary Jane's new face model.
I'll be honest, some of the face, not the models, but I agree with Mary Jane, but some of the facial animation doesn't look very good in my opinion. And maybe because we're still out, they can fix that. But I do think some of it's looks a little wonky. But you know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten used to Peter's new face, and I think it's actually improved in this game a little bit.
It does look better, yeah.
But Mary Jane is just, they did it again. It's just a completely new face. There's nothing original about it.
I still just don't think that face matches the voice, and that's my big thing. The trailer started, and I was with Ryan, and so it's like it showed Harry, and he was like, "Hey, Harry," and then it showed Peter, and I was like, "Oh, hey, stranger."
Yeah, it is funny if you are someone who only had a PS4 and you didn't get a remastered PS5 Spider-Man, you come to this game. Again, you have to apply Miles. He would have been in Miles. That's so never mind. But if you skip Miles for some reason, then you're getting a brand new Peter Parker, and that's gonna be really funny.
Yeah, Ben, if you skip Miles for some reason.
Racism!
You'll be confused.
Yeah, Ben.
That's not
I
what
wasn't gonna say
That's not what I meant.
But I'll tell you what, I love that. There's a moment where in this trailer where the Spider-Man symbiote is on top of Lizard, and it looks like he is either A, trying to contain him, or B, he is sucking up the venom from the Lizard. So I'm hoping that there are a bunch of cool boss fights where a bunch of people get to be venomized versions of themselves, much like the underrated Spider-Man Web of Shadows video game.
Interesting.
I thought we were gonna see him ride the Lizard. I thought that was like he was wrangling him to start riding.
Oh no,
him.
Just like in the Rhino sequence in Miles, I guarantee that will also be a sequence. You're like, oh, partner. There's a bear in these woods. Grizzly shows up, who is a C-list character. I'm like, hell yeah, Grizzly. Just a dude in a bear suit. Hell yeah.
One Piece.
It is a significantly better looking trailer than the first one,
True.
while still, I think, not escaping that made for you to buy a fan kind of vibe for the majority of the shots.
Yeah.
But there is more on the table that impresses me here.
I agree.
I like the wire work.
I'm sorry, Ben?
I skipped this trailer. I'm like, nope, I don't want to watch that one.
Oh, Ben, you know
should've
what?
given it a chance.
I think you should watch it. Like it's a better trailer. Like I'm now more mixed about if I want to actually give it a shot or not.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's definitely got. It has a lot more on the table than I thought it did.
Okay.
I will say, well, like, I feel the passion from the actors, from some of the actors. Like the guy playing Luffy, the main guy, like he seems like he's really invested in like being this like silly pirate kid. He's a kid, right? So like, I do wish it was a lot more colorful for what it's adapting. But I do think some of the costume work is really great. Like the clown stuff specifically looks really cool.
The shot of his body coming apart.
I think
like
that's
doing the stuff. I'm like, that's some dedication to anime.
So like, I'm sure that episode will be really dope. Like they are not shying away from how anime it is. Like there is Luffy doing a lot of Kamala Khan stretching power stuff that I'm really into. But again, it just looks kind of cheap, and I have no real tie to One Piece. And again, the longest running anime series of all time, and you're trying to adapt it into a live action thing. And I'm just like, I just don't know how it's gonna adapt, honestly. Like, I don't think it looks quite as like. I'm not as worried as like Cowboy Bebop, but like I'm not like jonesing to watch it either.
I thought Cowboy Bebop looked better than this, honestly.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought there was more style in Cowboy Bebop's editing, specifically. At least we were led to believe. But here, I was impressed actually by the wire work. There's actually a fair amount of pretty good wire work to approximate some of the anime wall runs, or like the high kick we see a little later.
Yeah, that there's that shot where it like comes down around and they're like in a little like creek area, and a guy comes flying out of the side of the screen, kicks the other guy.
Yes.
And I was like, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
All right. Invincible season 2.
Go back to when we watched the season 1 trailer and that voice cast got thrown up. Now do it all again, but more.
So I won't say the entire voice cast, but I do have it. I'm just going to pick out. So we know that Sterling K. Brown is going to play Angstrom Levy, which I think is great.
Big bad boy.
Chloe Bennett has joined the cast. Ben Schwartz joined the cast. Phil Lamar, Sterling K. Brown. I always said. David Diggs, Callista Flockhart, Eric Bauza, but Peter Cullen was the final name on the list.
Tatiana Maslany.
Yes, Tatiana Maslany. Yes, Tatiana Maslany. And Peter Cullen is here too. And they like make a big deal about Peter Cullen. And then the J.K. Simmons, he should have died of childbirth.
Yeah.
Y'all, Invincible is an excellent comic. And if it takes 2 years, 3 years for every season, and it's allowed to run, like we'll be watching Invincible for the next like 20 years because that comic is a really long running series. the stuff the way the comic goes in dozens and dozens and dozens, 100 issues from now is so spectacular and so like something only a comic can do.
For sure.
And that first season of Invincible is incredible, and it is an almost one-to-one adaptation of that comic, right? So like, it is really exciting to see. Like they are like you said, Ancient Levy, like they are doing Invincible right, and with a better budget and even more celebrity cameos, celebrity voices. And I'm like, man, this is just a winner. This just looks incredible. I'm so excited. Like Mark's gonna go through so much shit. That poor kid.
Yeah, it looks really great. The same day this trailer dropped, they also released the Adam Eve special, which is a full-length special episode, 55 minutes. It says, just based around Adam Eve and her history, her origin. And then they also said that season 3 has already been recorded, which tells you where that is in the coming act.
By the time this series is done, it's going to have the most insane voice cast.
It'll be everybody
of any animated show. It's just nuts.
Yeah.
I think this trailer looks incredible. I'm so excited for the show.
I'm ready.
All the homies are coming back. I love Walton Goggins as I forget his name, but like the cool spy guy.
Yeah.
I love that dude. Just really cool. Like take as much time as you need to make the show look as good as it needs to.
Peter Cullen is playing an elder Viltrumite, which I don't know the name of. I haven't met him in the comic yet. So Comic-Con, we're done with Comic-Con, but there is still news that will probably come out today as we are recording. There's nothing from Sunday in this news, and if there is things that we want to talk about, we will talk about it next Sunday. Next Sunday morning, so stay tuned. But let's move on to some other trailers like Perpetrator.
Man, Shudder's making shit.
Oh my god, this looks so gross. I love it.
It opens with
that's like where David Lynch meets John Hughes, and I'm like, oh my god.
There's some extremely evocative imagery in this, and it's definitely going for like hardcore vibes.
That opening,
I'm so into it. If anything ever makes me feel gross, I'm like, oh, I love it. Give me more, please.
That opening sets up a different movie that the rest of the trailer is.
Oh yeah.
Because it sets up like this satiristic like school shooting drill, and then it does vampires. Like no, it's not vampires, but like horrible evil shit just starts happening.
Yeah. Again, yeah, like the teen drama dynamics of John Hughes, and then like the weirdo mysteries of a David Lynch brain. Like seems right up my alley. Again, Shudder, like it's like week after week we're talking about dope looking Shudder movies that should just be in theaters. But I'm like, hell yeah, Shudder, get it.
Color me intrigued.
True.
It's the guy from How I Met Your Father is the principal of the school.
Yes,
you know,
that's true.
Guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mech cadets.
This is interesting animation.
So this is based on the Gene Luen Yang story that he did at Boom Studios. It's more of a kid's book called Mech Cadets U, and Netflix is adapting it into a kids animated show, Mech Cadets.
Actually, it's Greg Pak.
Greg Pak. I'm sorry. You're right, Greg Pak.
I think it looks fine. I'd rather just read the comic. I wasn't in love with the animation.
I wasn't really vibing with this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the I said this to Ryan, but like usually when we have these animated things from Netflix, a lot of the time my complaint is like a deadness in the eyes, and I don't feel like that's as present here.
Yeah,
I get what you mean about it being stilted.
Yeah,
but like there's still some like something else working for it that I'm kind of intrigued by. I'm not loving the character faces, but outside of that, there's a lot of stuff in the flow of action that
the robots look cool.
I think looks really nice, and like the blending between the bond of the cadet and the robot animation, like when they're moving inside, and then it looks cool.
Sure, yeah. This will just make me read the comic, honestly. I think.
The Monkey King.
Yeah.
I like the animation of this one better than Mech Cadets, but it, once again, wasn't really vibing with it.
Same. I thought it was. I really liked the animation a lot. I just found a lot of it to be like pretty generic, like not even like what the plot is, like just like the because I know it's about like the Monkey King learning humility and stuff like that. But like it's like the dialogue was really generic, kind of like bad DreamWorks, like bad, almost like Illumination, like jokes, like yeah, I'm sure there was a better representation in a different trailer. I hope.
I like the animation a lot. I'm just kind of excited to have a Monkey King anime movie coming out. I think it's benefited by having a main character who is as egotistical and pompous as the Monkey King, which I think leaves an opportunity for good character stuff to happen around him. Some of the stuff is working for me as in regards to his character specifically of the like she insults him in some way and then he says, and I'm also handsome, if you're going to be critical, be fair. And that kind of attitude with him really works for me. But I do like the animation. I like that the animation doesn't look like any of the other animated in this realm, like of 3D animation. It doesn't look like any particular style from anything else we've seen.
Is this Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
This is like definitely one of the better looking at like animated Netflix things.
Yeah. I'm glad I can't like pick a style that they're aping, that it feels like a wholly different kind of style inside this space.
I agree.
I think this is coming from a Chinese animation studio, like we saw with Neja. There's a couple of Neja movies that came out of China. One of them is on Netflix, I think.
Yeah.
A Haunting in Venice.
I'm pretty impressed that it looks like Kenneth Branagh was like, I'm just gonna make a horror movie.
This movie, I saw that first one, thought it was fine. I refused to watch that second one. This looks incredible, and I'm gonna be really sad if this movie isn't this what this movie is.
I the first one, haven't seen the second one, but the second I saw Kenneth Branagh as the detective Hercule, I forget his last name. Like, thank you. I was like, this can't be what I think this is. Is it? And then it's like it turns into a horror movie. It was like, oh my god, what is this?
Trailer.
I mean, I really like the first trailer because it's like, look at this horror movie. Ah, Poirot's here.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it was good. That was a good thing about the first trailer. But this is like really showing you Poirot is in it, and like it's still a horror movie, and it does feel very much like if nothing else, it does seem like just the trailer has told me enough to say that like Kenneth Branagh, whether he succeeds or not, he really tried to make this feel different from the previous.
It actually has like style.
Yeah, it feels like he really took a hand at trying to make a horror movie for Poirot.
Yeah.
I wonder, is he directing this?
Yeah,
he has to be.
I feel like he is, but I want to be sure.
But like you got to question it because it's like it just doesn't look like the other two at all.
Yeah,
Brandon, I'm like 99% sure I saw Kenneth Branagh's name in like you know how trailers have those little credits things and it says directed by Kenneth Branagh at the very bottom.
Yeah, he is directing it.
And to that point, like I don't believe he's ever done a horror movie before, so I can imagine him just kind of like wanting to go off.
I'm trying to think what's a really bad movie. He was in Wild Wild West.
Sure.
That's a
he didn't direct Wild Wild West.
Yeah, I'm saying like when
he
I think he just really wanted to go hard on that aesthetic, and I think he's maybe succeeding.
I really hope so, because this trailer rules. If this is the vibe of the whole actual movie, yeah.
I'm really happy to hear this coming from you guys, because like obviously I think I probably like Murder in the Orient Express the most of the four of us. Not to say you guys didn't like it, but I really liked it. Death on the Nile, I did see. It's garbage. But
right, you didn't give us any confidence in any reason to see
never.
And like Death on the Nile did seem to like crush everyone's interest in a Poirot in a Kenneth Branagh Poirot film, and so it's really cool to see that people are kind of turning around and seeing that. I also think this trailer looked really good, but I was prepared to be like the only one who thought it looked really good, and I'm glad I'm not.
I really hope that. And not, again, no one ever goes out to make a bad movie, but like I hope after these first two movies, he's like, I can't just keep making the same like traditional murder mystery. Like for this next one, why don't I make the horror book into a horror movie? Why don't I actually try to do that? And like you said, like I think so far, like I think he's succeeding, and like I really hope he can carry it all the way through. And it's not like, I hope this trailer isn't tricking us. That's the thing I'm so scared about, is that this movie isn't going to be as spooky and scary as it is.
Now, I will go back to, without spoiling anything from the book, I'm pretty confident, based on reading it a long time ago, that it does one of those like it leaves you a little thing of like,
is it real? Is it not real?
Was something supernatural happening or not? And doesn't answer that question. And I think knowing he can live in that ambiguity, if that is correct, means he can play in this space so deeply, and he doesn't have to answer that question.
I hope so.
So we can solve a murder, but also not answer every question about what's going on. And I think that'd be really great, because he seems to be taking full advantage of what that allows him to do, rather than just playing the murder mystery card, which was part of the point of writing Haunting in Venice, was to really break it away from the traditional format.
So at the end of the movie, at the end of this trailer, it does say that this is based on Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. It's the title. That's the title of the book.
Yeah.
Or short story. I don't remember which one. The screenplay writer is Michael Green. And he's written all three of these Poirot films.
Okay.
Death on the Nile and Murder on the Express, as well as Jungle Cruise, Blade Runner 2049, Alien Covenant, Logan.
Yeah. All right.
So I don't know what happened with Death on the Nile.
The Haunting of Venice has more of a darker tone, and he seems to operate better on darker tones with Logan and Blade Runner. So like this could be the winner we've been waiting for, baby. I want to be on the Perot train. He won't let me. His mustache is too big. Let me on.
He also wrote The Call of the Wild. Oh, he created American Gods. Damn.
Oh, that's cool.
This was busy.
Yeah, good job, dude.
All right.
Yeah, this looks really, really good. I'm hoping for the best.
Haunted Mansion. I insisted that we keep this one, so I'll just say that I actually do really like this trailer. I think this is showing off a really interesting way to adapt the Haunted Mansion scenery into this movie, which I think the previous Haunted Mansion film failed. Outside of the talking heads, which are pretty funny. But like I think this is really like adapting kind of like the horror elements that you see in the ride into this in a really interesting way. The little candle at the end that blows itself out is very funny to me.
Yeah.
No, it's a good trailer for sure.
Did we know Jared Leto was in this movie?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I did not know that.
He's It was we were bummed out because he's the I always forget his name. The dude with the thing. He's the guy.
The hat box.
The hat box. Yeah. Like he actually, and the thing is like he sounds great, but it's like you didn't need it to be Jared Leto.
At least we don't need to see his face.
At least we don't need to see his face. Again, like the less Jared Leto is in the movie when he's in it, makes me happy. Tron Ares.
We get more Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota in this, which is cool. Yeah, I hope this is good. I really do.
I really hope so too, because Brandon, you know, I've been dying for a better Haunted Mansion film for a very long time.
Yeah.
I love how this film looks. I love how, like you said, they're going back to the last trailer where they're doing the seance, and then the chair is essentially the doom buggy. How they are taking things from the ride, but also like turning the dial up to 20 because it's like this is a movie. We could do so many different crazy shit with this now. Like the endless hallway and how the hallway doesn't it's not just endless, but also.
I really like the spinning hallway bit. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. Haunted Mansion is one of my favorite rides at Disneyland. I'm ready for it. I want it.
I agree. When it's called Nightmare Before Christmas. The director, Justin Simeon, before this, he directed Dear White People, which people really seem to like. And then he's one of the writers and producers of Lando.
Oh. That's why he released that's why. Okay, so he must have been asked about Lando this year, this week then, because there was a news item that dropped, which was him saying that he's been done with Lando for like 5 years, and Disney just isn't moving on it.
That's his next credit is Lando, writer producer. So like that is just there somewhere, waiting to get made.
Apparently he's like, it's done. He's ready to go, but Disney just isn't moving on it.
That's crazy. That's really crazy. I thought his trailer like was about the same for me. It showed more stuff, but like I liked it about the same from the first one, which means I liked it. I'm excited to see it. I don't think anything will ever beat Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that's like a lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I do like the as far as comedy goes. I also want to spotlight the bit where Owen Wilson's like, "You guys just aren't scary. Actually, you're pretty scary. Could you turn around?"
Yeah, that is. I think the comedy looks pretty good, and I really like the cast. Again, like Tiffany Haddish. You know, I just watched the After Party. Tiffany Haddish is great. I can use more of her in my life.
Danny DeVito.
Oh, I love Danny, but I see him every week, and It's Always Sunny, so it's okay.
The Creator. I didn't get to talk about the first trailer with you guys because I was off that week. I think this looks incredible. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for this movie.
Yo, man, what happens when you have a director who understands special effects and can make a movie that looks like this for under $100 million? You get the
Yeah.
creator. Looks awesome. Well, it very much looks like Rogue One. You see Rogue One, that's what this movie looks like, but it's not a bad thing. I love Gareth Edwards' visual style. It's just a really cool, an age-old tale of, what does it mean to be human? I love that shit. It's Westworld. That's in my brain all the time. Very Steven Spielberg's AI. I'm very into it.
Yes.
We got to protect this kid.
Uh-huh.
Very cute kid, man. That robot kid is extremely adorable. I think this looks great. I think this looks really, really cool.
I really like John David Washington, and so him teaming up with Gareth Edwards is really exciting to me. Yeah, I love the way this looks. This is one of my most anticipated of the year, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
Just a
really
cool
looking
original sci-fi film.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This looks really good.
Yeah. I think for all of us, when the first trailer came out, it was kind of a surprise of the year.
Yeah.
That we just didn't see it coming, that it was going to be this.
Yeah. Finally, the Marvels.
I'm so excited for this movie, guys.
I think this is
Yeah.
gonna be a winner. I think we got a winner, y'all.
I don't want to get too overhyped for it, because like MCU's been a little under the weather.
It's got a
with its
cold.
deliveries, but like this looks real good.
Yes.
I agree with everything that Spark said, and I 100% agree, but I'm going to go in with cautious optimism. Not to say that I think the movie's going to be bad, nor do I want to be it. I do not. I want a really good Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go in, so far it looks good, but I'm just going to, obviously, we're going to pass judgment on it. We're going to critique it when it comes out, but I'm going to try and temper my expectations. And I hope when I walk out of there, it's like, oh, hell yeah, we were right. Instead of being like, man, this sucks. I was wrong. Shit like that.
I really love this trailer. I love the first trailer. I love this trailer. Whoever is on this trailer team, give him a raise, because these are great trailers. I also really like that we get a look at Captain Marvel's, not her new suit, but her new suit, and I think that suit looks awesome.
I think everybody looks
star
great.
on it, right?
The big
Yeah.
star, yeah.
It's like a darker shade too. I really like the look of this movie. Kamala, Monica, they all just look really like, this looks like a really fun movie. I'm sure there's going to be drama and all everything, but like this trailer is really selling on this fun team adventure with this teenage fangirl and these two like intergalactic saviors. Like,
And I really like Nia DaCosta, so I want to believe
absolutely
that this is going to land.
Yeah.
I know that this is not the tone that Secret Invasion is trying to go for. I understand that what Secret Invasion is working towards, but when I see Nick Fury in this, I'm like, yeah, that's the Nick Fury I kind of want to see, I think.
Yeah.
And he's in this so much more than I thought he was going to be.
Same.
Just based off this trailer, I'm like, oh, you're like in this movie.
Yeah, he's shooting guns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's on a saber station with a bunch of different other alien species, and I'm like, we're gonna get all that explained in the Marvels, and none of that's gonna be in Secret Invasion. God damn it.
I really like seeing the interactions between Captain Marvel and Monica. The opening sets a really interesting tone because like you kind of it's kind of nice that they've remembered that Brie Larson and Sam Jackson are just in real life friends, but like Carol and Nick are Fury. Oops, scroll. So like it's really nice to see them still have that banter back and forth after 30 years.
Yeah. And she hasn't aged a day.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this. I really hope this lands.
I think the action looks really great. I said this to you, but like I think it's really funny. Ron Mars, a comic book writer, he created this villain in a random issue of Silver Surfer, like Silver Surfer number 30, like 30 years ago, as a one-off villain, because I just need a villain for Silver Surfer. And now she's the big bad of a big Marvel movie. And he's just like, you just never know what's going to land, what's going to stick, what's going to be influenced. Like, it's really cool to see. Will he get paid for it with Marvel? Probably not. But it's still cool that he's like, I created that character when I was young. That's crazy. Like, I always love seeing that.
No, we get a clearer look in this of how their powers get entangled, which is that Kree warrior finds the other bangle.
Yes.
Which entangles their light-based powers, the three of them.
So Miss Marvel, there are probably some people who didn't watch Miss Marvel and like, hey guys, that's a pretty good show. There is definitely some weak shit in it, but like Kamala in the core of that story is really good. So like, you should check that show out if you're interested in the Marvels, because like they are going to go into that stuff, and that's really cool. Like that is the interconnected nature of the MCU, like paying off in a way.
Yeah, I'm really stoked for this one. Can't wait.
Same.
That's it. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
Ooh, interesting that Doesn't Loki come out before Captain Marvel? The Marvels?
It starts before.
And we haven't gotten any trailer for that one either. I think that's
No,
interesting.
we haven't.
Because I bet you they're trying to work around on that trailer with people who's involved in it.
They tried. I'm sure that's part of it, but also like the promotion for streaming TV shows is such a shorter window than promoting a feature-length film.
That is true. Yeah.
Specifically streaming shows, because like network shows will get trailers months in advance, but streaming shows generally only get like a month to like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
Which sucks, honestly, because it's not enough time. But anyway, that's all the news. That's the show. That's the show.
Thank God. Hell yeah.
All right.
I love Comic-Con, baby.
So next week we'll wrap up so many Comic-Con loose ends that we find that dropped today. But if not, we'll be back next Sunday morning. So stay tuned for that. Of course, there's plenty more things you can check out on this channel. If you like this video and you subscribe to this channel, you can check out my audio show, Conversation, which is a show where I talk to podcasters about fandom. My latest episode with Rachel Strange is still the latest episode, but The and Dark will be coming this week. I apologize for its delay. Fake Nerds Watch, which is our other show that we do on this channel. You can check out both the series on Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion will be back at the end of the final episode, dropping this week. So stay tuned. There's Basement Arcade and Basement Arcade Pause Mini, our two video game shows. Basement Arcade Regular is just a Let's Play. New episodes of that coming soon. And Basement Arcade Pause Mini is Ben's talking show. Video game talking show. Let's call it that. Fake Nerd Book Club coming soon. We did promise it will. Animation Station, The Real Score, and Miscellaneous all have new episodes coming. So stay tuned for all of that, as well as our Cinephiles. The Cinephiles is not technically a new show. It is still in the same feed that you'll get your Fake Nerd podcasts in audio format, but in video format, check out the playlist. That is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's probably uploaded by now if you're watching this on the live stream. So please check that out. Very fun movie.
Mission is a go.
There you go. It's there. And coming up, we're going to try and do a review of They Cloned Tyrone. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
You can also support us financially on Patreon and TeePublic if you'd like to do that. Those are linked below, as well as on our website where you can find everything is on our website at fakenerdpodcast.com, which is linked below. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the rewind. And thank you to everyone who watches the live stream. We greatly appreciate all of your support. We love you guys. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci for all the musical themes you heard here tonight and all the themes for every single one of our shows. You can check him out. Co-hosting The Real Score also. He's also the co-host of The Real Score. I changed my outro a little bit, so I'm getting used to the new format. You can find him at Jeremy Vellucci _Wreck of Time, or his podcast, Suburban Proctologist, on Instagram at Subproc Podcast, or Facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official, all written out. Of course, you can find it on iTunes, wherever your podcatcher of choice. Thank you to Mike Matola, who did our logos, a couple of our logos, and a couple of collaborations with us. Hopefully have him back on the show soon. You can find him at Mike Matola on Instagram and TikTok. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast, fakenerdguys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for CBR.com. A couple of articles up there, AtomicGeekdom.com, and KaijuRamenMedia.com, where you can check out my Skull Island review. Ben, where can people find you?
Well, next weekend you could find me suffering in the hot California sun, but constantly screaming, "Let's go!" because I'll be at Super Nintendo World at Ben McAtoy on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads. You can also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, GoNintendo.com, and playing Mary Frankenstein at Dean Dark. Link for the latest episode 35, is down below.
Sparks?
You can find me scrambling to keep up with everything else going on at SparksWitty on Instagram and Twitter, SPARKZWitty.
And Ryan?
You can find me, now that I've danced under the lights of Barbie, you can find me contemplating the weight of building the greatest weapon of all time, Oppenheimer, hopefully soon, at DJ Tony Snark 616.
Subscribe to us on your podcatcher of choice, rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Until next time you see us, guys, bye Comic-Con.
Bye, Comic-Con.
Bye all the people. Say bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Stay fake nerds.